Hey, my name's Camilla. So, there's something bad I did. I'm now super ashamed of it. Anyway, I'm a different person now, and I'm telling you guys this so you hopefully won't make the same mistake I did. I was the popular girl in high school, along with my best friend, Lisa. Both of us were pretty well liked, but the other kids seemed to like me more than her. I guess she knew this, and it meant we low-key competed against each other on everything, from wearing the cutest outfits to getting the hottest boys' attention. I suppose it kinda made us frenemies. So, prom was only a few weeks away, and I had the prom queen crown in my reach. But then I heard a few lame rumors circulating about me, such as how I'd kissed Rita Stone's boyfriend behind the bike shed, and how I'd been the one writing the really mean comments about the other girl on the bathroom cubicle wall. I tried to shrug these ridiculous rumors off, but it seemed like everyone else believed them. Worse still, I had this inkling that Lisa, who was sickeningly sweet to my face, had something to do with the rumors. After all, I know how eager she was to be prom queen. Things went on for a few days. Everyone whispered and pointed at me as I walked by. I was so mad, especially as Lisa continued enjoying life and pretending to pity me. I'd had enough. So that day during lunch break, I stomped straight towards her in the cafeteria. We had a huge fight, yelled at each other. I then threw my carton of milk at her, then carried my lunchbox to another table in the corner. I was sitting there alone, crying, when someone tapped on my shoulder. It was Aubrey, asking me to join her table. Aubrey and I go way back, as she was my old childhood friend. But ever since middle school, she's a bit of a loser, so I hadn't spoken to her in a while. I agreed and followed her to another table in tears. Her group of friends are a bunch of nerds, and I've probably teased some of them before. Awkward. As I sat down, I noticed this one guy, Scott, who was also kinda out of place. He's too good looking for this table. He made hanging out with the losers so much easier. As we all were chatting, I've already thought about how me and Scott would make such a cute couple, and we could rule this group. Of course, I was still so mad with Lisa, so I came up with a plan to get my revenge. I asked the nerd crew of Aubrey to help me ruin the prom. If I couldn't be prom queen, then I wanted to destroy it so Lisa couldn't have it either. I convinced them by going on and on about how they should stand up for themselves and defeat the popular mean girl, Lisa. As her latest victim, I guess I've delivered a pretty inspirational speech that got them all hyped up to join me. The nerd crew's smart, so it'd be easy for them to mess up the electrical system at prom, switch the music playlist to something funny, ruin the drinks, pour down a bucket of water on the winners as they announce prom king and queen on stage. While preparing for the big day, I hung out with them more and more, and I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty fun, and I kinda liked them. They didn't do the whole fake friendship thing like I'd had to endure with Lisa, and it made life so much easier. Along with my revenge plan, I also had another operation going. Scott. Remember? I decided to make a move and flirt with him every time we met. I saw Aubrey secretly peek at him from time to time, so I once jokingly asked her if she liked him, and she blushed and blurted out a tiny, "Yes." Poor Aubrey, as he was way out of her league. One day, I asked Scott to accompany me to go buy some stuff for our prank. While we were in the car, I asked him why he joined the group, as they're all losers. And he said it's actually because he liked Aubrey, so hanging out with this group meant he could spend more time with her. Plus, the others were actually fun too. I got a little mad that he actually liked her, so I told him, "Such a pity, but you're not Aubrey's type, as she's into girls." I reached across and touched his arm, and then told him that if we dated, we'd be the hottest couple. I'd be the most popular girl again, and he too would have the fame he deserved. Forget those nerds, as they were dragging us both down. He stayed calm and told me to stop, but I kept flirting with him until he dropped me off at my house. Finally, the big day came, and I arrived late to prom because I only wanted to see the grand finale of Lisa being soaked on stage. As I walked into the venue, I expected it to be a mess. Flickering lights, lame music, and people complaining about the drinks. But everything looked fine. I didn't get it. So I found one of the nerds and asked them how the plan's going. But he just shrugged and danced away. I was a bit furious. But then it was prom queen announcing time, which, unsurprisingly, Lisa won. I excitedly waited for the humiliating water shower to follow. But it didn't happen. What was going on? We'd had our group meeting yesterday to make sure everything was ready. I was so mad. I screamed at a guy from the nerd group, and he said maybe I should check it myself. I then got on stage to check when everyone was starting to leave. But then, as I looked up, the water bucket fell on me! I screamed so loud, everyone froze and turned around looking at me. I stood there soaked and humiliated in front of the entire school! Then, out of nowhere, the whole group of nerds, including Aubrey, gathered in front of me and said that I deserved this. It turned out, Aubrey and Scott have been dating for a while now, and he had told her everything I'd said. Aubrey said she'd given me a second chance to be in her life again, and I hadn't changed at all, and that I was still the same selfish girl. Now, I'm in college, and these days, I'm a much nicer person. It was all in the past. I've apologized to Aubrey, but I am still ashamed when I think about it. I hope you learn a lesson from my mistake and don't mess up like I did. Being popular is great and all, but I now know that some things are far more important.
It was just a regular school day, and I was sorting out my locker when suddenly I heard hushed whispers and noticed that everyone else was staring at something. Okay, so turns out it wasn't a something, but a someone, as this pretty girl strutted down the corridor like it was a runway or something. Ugh. Why was everyone gawping at her, rushing over to greet her, and sticking notepads in her face for her to sign? I hugged my books and muttered, geez, there's nothing special about her. So, my name's Lily, and I'm just a normal girl. My family, yeah, they're normal. My appearance, normal. And my social status, well, that's just normal too. I coast through life, and that's it. Nothing exciting ever happens to a regular girl like me. Oh, how I long to be the perfect looking girls on Instagram. They're so flawless in their clear skin, stylish clothes, and glossy hair. But those girls were different. They were from different worlds. Oh well, at least I still had my books, my bestie Sarah, and my cute boyfriend Brian. But this all changed when Stacy rocked up at school with her perfect looks and her "I'm so sweet and friendly" routine. Yeah, right. So, what if she had a prettyish face and a bit part in some TV show underneath the fake shine? She was clearly not all that. I walked into English class to see her sitting at the desk next to mine. Ugh, great. I couldn't even get to my seat because everyone else was surrounding her, asking her dumb questions such as, "What shampoo do you use?" and "Do you get snack breaks when you film your show?" Geez, give me a break instead. Then, when I finally managed to sit down, she smiled at me and in this sickly sweet voice said, "Hi, I hope it's okay I sit here. I'm Stacy." Yeah, sure. I forced a smile back, but on the inside, my anger was boiling over. Who did this girl think she was? So what if she was beautiful? I bet she only cared about her looks and never bothered studying. Yeah, everyone else would soon realize what a failure she was. Then, one time during recess, Stacy, the living Barbie doll, suggested we start a yearbook, and now everyone's treating her like she's achieved world peace or something. Ugh, you know the worst part of it? I've been saying we should start a yearbook for years, but no one listened to me. And guess who received so many welcome cards and love notes that they fell out of her locker and obstructed the hallway? Yup, Stacy. Gosh, it's been like weeks already. When will these stop? I hated how she thanked everyone and blushed and I needed to be around a sane person who didn't think the sun shone out of her. She was everywhere. It made me sick. But thank God for lunchtime. It became the only peaceful time of the day for me, when I could hang out with Sarah and not have to worry about Stacy. But, what was this? What was that Barbie doll doing sitting at our table and talking to my best friend? I walked over there and placed my tray down next to Sarah. "Oh, hi, Lily. Stacy just said the funniest thing." "Great," I muttered under my breath. Lunch was an ordeal. Sarah ignored me and kept on asking Stacy dumb questions like, "Is your co-star Kyle as handsome in real life?" And "How do you style printed skirts with a colored tee?" Yawn! Later that day, due to a paint spillage in art, I was 5 minutes late out. Sarah had agreed to drive me home, but I went out to the parking lot. Her car wasn't there. Then I checked my phone and saw that she'd messaged me. Where are you? I can't wait anymore. I'll leave first with Stacy. See you tomorrow, X. What? Is she ditching me to give that phony a ride? We had been friends since childhood. How could she be fooled for Stacy's act and just throw away our friendship like that? Angry, I messaged her back, you abandoned me for Little Miss Popular? How could you? I get it. New one in, old one out. Well, thanks a lot. My phone buzzed with her reply. Lily, you know it isn't like that. You live up the road from school while Stacy lives much further away and she needed to get back in time to get ready for her filming schedule. Madder than ever, I quickly typed out my reply. Whatever. It's too bad you'll always be a nobody in her eyes and she's just using you for a free ride. Then I checked my phone onto my bed. I'd had enough. Sarah had made her choice and it was to be friends with that fake over me. Sarah may have fallen into the Stacy trap, but at least I still had Brian, right? One afternoon, I was talking to him out in the schoolyard when Stacy tottered past. Even her try-too-hard walk was annoying. She smiled over my Brian, then she deliberately tripped up and dropped the books she was holding. I grabbed Brian's arm to stop him from going over, but he shook himself free from my grip and went over to her anyway. I watched him help her pick her books up, and then she blushed and squeaked out a "Thank you." She was the worst. When he walked back over to me with this big grin on his face, I couldn't take it anymore. So I blurted out to him, "How dare you leave me to help her?" He gave me a confused look.
Lily, I was just helping her out.
Yeah, right. You knew she dropped them on purpose to get your attention, but you went over there to her anyway because you think she's prettier than me. He sighed.
You're being ridiculous. You know what? I can't deal with your selfish, jealous streak anymore. Let's just call it a day. We're done.
Then he walked off. I stood there watching him, expecting him to cool down and come back. Only he didn't. This was all Stacy's fault. She'd stolen my best friend and my boyfriend. No more. It was time to show her that she wasn't so perfect after all. I scrolled through her social media pages for ideas, and it soon became apparent that she loves boys with toned abs who ride motorbikes. How predictable. I discovered this website where I could hire a boy to play with her heart, then ditch her. It's about time she learned how much it sucked to be undesirable and worthless. Ha! I found the perfect guy called Josh. He was 19, a gym addict, and he had a motorbike. Whoa, he was expensive, but it would be worth it, right? I arranged to meet him at the local coffee shop, and geez, he was even more handsome in person. I wished I could use this money to actually make him mine. Sigh. So the deal is, he's gonna flirt with Stacy, make her love him deeply, and then break up with her. The next Monday, I walked out of school to see Josh parked up to the school gate, holding his helmet and looking like he belonged in a movie. Naturally, every girl was staring at him, but he made a beeline for Stacy. Then, just 1 week later, I saw him picking up Stacy from the school. Whoa! I knew that! I knew I had chosen the right person. Josh was such a lady killer. They looked super close and I had to remind myself that he was just an actor and he was doing his job. Haha! She was gonna be so heartbroken. But a few weeks later, and he was still picking her up. Huh? Why hadn't he broken up with her yet? So I called him up and asked him what was taking him so long. He replied that he would do it soon. He was just making her fall for him more before he did it. Brutal. Only the weeks passed by and he still hadn't ended it. Then I was walking past the movie theater and I spotted them there, kissing. What? This was not the plan! Furious, I had arranged to meet him the next day at the coffee shop. He walked over and couldn't even meet my eye as he said,
I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I will refund you as soon as I can.
Why? Have you fallen in love with her or something? I said jokingly. There was a long silence. Then he looked down at the table and muttered out,
Yeah, I have.
Why was I the only one on the planet who saw how fake she was? Thanks to her siren ways, I lost my best friend, my boyfriend, and now my savings. This was it. I needed to confront her. The next day at school, I tried finding her, but she was nowhere to be found. Then, as I passed through the school garden, I saw her sitting there. Gotcha! It's time to tell her exactly what I thought of her. I stormed over to her and opened my mouth to speak, but why was she crying? When she saw me, she managed to smile and said, Oh, hi, Lily. Is there a chance you could help me? I stared at her with disbelief. Did she think I was under her spell and would do her bidding? But then I saw what she was crying about. In her hands was her English essay with a big F on it. So I replied, why me? You're so smart. You answer all the questions in class correctly. I don't want to be judged on my bad grades. That's why I left my last school. The other kids call me a brainless beauty. I moved here for a fresh start, and now I'm still failing. Okay, so in that moment, I realized that there were things I was good at. My grades were good, and I was pretty great at remembering facts. I'd just been so blinded by jealousy that I lost focus on these things and only saw what I didn't have. None of this was Stacy's fault. She never actually done anything bad to me. I'd made it all up in my head because I was jealous of her. So I sat down next to her and said, "No one's gonna call you that because I'll help you study." "You will?" She gave me a hopeful smile and I nodded. "Thank you so much," she flung her arms around me. So that's how Stacy went from being my enemy to my friend. She's actually a really sweet and kind-hearted girl. No wonder why everyone admired her so much. And I was wrong to judge her on her appearance and not give her a fair chance. She's still with Josh and she doesn't know that I hired him to break her heart. But hey, she now has a hunky boyfriend who adores her, so that could be considered compensation, right? Brian and I are still over, but thinking about it, maybe this was for the best. I know I overreacted, but he gave me up so easily, and well, I want to find a guy who won't do that. As for Sarah, I went around to her house with a bag full of her favorite candy, and I apologized for being a jealous jerk. Luckily for me, she forgave me. Now, Sarah, Stacy, and I have become good friends. Sarah and I both help Stacy with her studies, and she gives us fashion tips. And you know what? I've come to realize that I'm pretty after all. I just needed to discover my spark. So finally, I learned that no one's perfect. Perfection is just an illusion. The most important thing is that we feel happy with what we own and never stop improving ourselves. So just be you and let everyone else concentrate on being them.
It was just a regular school day, and I was sorting out my locker when suddenly I heard hushed whispers and noticed that everyone else was staring at something. Okay, so turns out it wasn't a something, but a someone, as this pretty girl strutted down the corridor like it was a runway or something. Ugh. Why was everyone gawping at her, rushing over to greet her, and sticking notepads in her face for her to sign? I hugged my books and muttered, "Geez, there's nothing special about her." So, my name's Lily, and I'm just a normal girl. My family, yeah, they're normal. My appearance, normal. And my social status, well, that's just normal too. I coast through life, and that's it. Nothing exciting ever happens to a regular girl like me. Oh, how I long to be the perfect-looking girls on Instagram. They're so flawless in their clear skin, stylish clothes, and glossy hair. But those girls were different. They were from different worlds. Oh well, at least I still had my books, my bestie Sarah, and my cute boyfriend Brian. But this all changed when Stacy rocked up at school with her perfect looks and her "I'm so sweet and friendly" routine. Yeah, right. So, what if she had a prettyish face and a bit part in some TV show? Underneath the fake shine, she was clearly not all that. I walked into English class to see her sitting at the desk next to mine. Ugh. Great. I couldn't even get to my seat because everyone else was surrounding her, asking her dumb questions such as, "What shampoo do you use?" And "Do you get snack breaks when you film your show?" Geez, give me a break instead. And when I finally managed to sit down, she smiled at me and in this sickly sweet voice said, "Hi, I hope it's okay I sit here. I'm Stacy." Yeah, sure. I forced a smile back, but on the inside, my anger was boiling over. Who did this girl think she was? So what if she was beautiful? I bet she only cared about her looks and never bothered studying. Yeah, everyone else would soon realize what a failure she was. Then, one time during recess, Stacy, the living Barbie doll, suggested we start a yearbook, and now everyone's treating her like she's achieved world peace or something. Ugh! You know the worst part of it? I've been saying we should start a yearbook for years, but no one listened to me. And guess who received so many welcome cards and love notes that they fell out of her locker and obstructed the hallway? Yup, Stacy. Gosh! It's been like weeks already. When will these stop? I hated how she thanked everyone and blushed and I needed to be around a sane person who didn't think the sun shone out of her. She was everywhere. It made me sick. But thank God for lunchtime. It became the only peaceful time of the day for me, when I could hang out with Sarah and not have to worry about Stacy. But, what was this? What was that Barbie doll doing sitting at our table and talking to my best friend. I walked over there and placed my tray down next to Sarah.
Oh, hi, Lily. Stacy just said the funniest thing.
Great, I muttered under my breath. Lunch was an ordeal. Sarah ignored me and kept on asking Stacy dumb questions like,
Is your co-star Kyle as handsome in real life?
And
how do you style printed skirts with a colored tee?
yawn. Later that day, due to a paint spillage in art, I was 5 minutes late out. Sarah had agreed to drive me home, but I went to the parking lot. Her car wasn't there. Then I checked my phone and saw that she'd messaged me.
Where are you? I can't wait anymore. I'll leave first with Stacy. See you tomorrow, X.
What? Is she ditching me to give that phony a ride? We had been friends since childhood. How could she be fooled for Stacy's act and just throw away our friendship like that? Angry, I messaged her back, You abandoned me for Little Miss Popular? How could you? I get it. New one in, old one out. Well, thanks a lot. My phone buzzed with her reply.
Lily, you know it isn't like that. You live up the road from school while Stacy lives much further away and she needed to get back in time to get ready for her filming schedule.
Madder than ever, I quickly typed out my reply. Whatever, it's too bad you'll always be a nobody in her eyes and she's just using you for a free ride. Then I chucked my phone onto my bed. I had enough. Sarah had made her choice and it was to be friends with that fake over me. Sarah may have fallen into the Stacy trap, but at least I still had Brian, right? One afternoon, I was talking to him out in the schoolyard when Stacy tottered past. Even her try too hard walk was annoying. She smiled over my Brian. Then she deliberately tripped up and dropped the books she was holding. I grabbed Brian's arm to stop him from going over, but he shook himself free from my grip and went over to her anyway. I watched him help her pick her books up, and then she blushed and squeaked out a thank you. She was the worst. When he walked back over to me with this big grin on his face, I couldn't take it anymore. So I blurted out to him, How dare you leave me to help her? He gave me a confused look.
Lily, I was just helping her out.
Yeah, right. You knew she dropped them on purpose to get your attention, but you went over there to her anyway because you think she's prettier than me. He sighed.
You're being ridiculous. You know what? I can't deal with your selfish, jealous streak anymore. Let's just call it a day. We're done.
Then he walked off. I stood there watching him, expecting him to cool down and come back. Only he didn't. This was all Stacy's fault. She'd stolen my best friend and my boyfriend. No more. It was time to show her that she wasn't so perfect after all. I scrolled through her social media pages for ideas, and it soon became apparent that she lures boys with toned abs who ride motorbikes. How predictable. I discovered this website where I could hire a boy to play with her heart, then ditch her. It's about time she learned how much it sucked to be undesirable and worthless. Ha! I found the perfect guy called Josh. He was 19, a gym addict, and he had a motorbike. Whoa, he was expensive, but it would be worth it, right? I arranged to meet him at the local coffee shop, and geez, he was even more handsome in person. I wished I could use this money to actually make him mine. Sigh. So the deal is, he's gonna flirt with Stacy, make her love him deeply, and then break up with her. The next Monday, I walked out of school to see Josh parked up to the school gate, holding his helmet and looking like he belonged in a movie. Naturally, every girl was staring at him, but he made a beeline for Stacy. Then, just 1 week later, I saw him picking up Stacy from the school. Whoa! I knew that. I knew I had chosen the right person. Josh was such a lady killer. They looked super close, and I had to remind myself that he was just an actor and he was doing his job. Haha! She was gonna be so heartbroken. But a few weeks later, and he was still picking her up. Huh? Why hadn't he broken up with her yet? So I called him up and asked him what was taking him so long. He replied that he would do it soon. He was just making her fall for him more before he did it. Brutal. Only the weeks passed by and he still hadn't ended it. Then I was walking past the movie theater and I spotted them there, kissing. What? This was not the plan! Furious, I had arranged to meet him the next day at a coffee shop. He walked over and couldn't even meet my eye as he said,
I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I will refund you as soon as I can.
Why? Have you fallen in love with her or something? I said jokingly. There was a long silence. Then he looked down at the table and muttered out,
Yeah, I have.
Why was I the only one on the planet who saw how fake she was? Thanks to her siren ways, I lost my best friend, my boyfriend, and now my savings. This was it. I needed to confront her. The next day at school, I tried finding her, but she was nowhere to be found. Then, as I passed through the school garden, I saw her sitting there. Gotcha! It's time to tell her exactly what I thought of her. I stormed over to her and opened my mouth to speak, but why was she crying? When she saw me, she managed to smile and said, "Oh, hi, Lily. Is there a chance you could help me?" I stared at her with disbelief. Did she think I was under her spell and would do her bidding? But then I saw what she was crying about. In her hands was her English essay with a big F on it. So I replied, why me? You're so smart. You answer all questions in class correctly. I don't want to be judged on my bad grades. That's why I left my last school. The other kids call me a brainless beauty. I moved here for a fresh start, and now I'm still failing. Okay, so in that moment, I realized that there were things I was good at. My grades were good, and I was pretty great at remembering facts. I'd just been so blinded by jealousy that I lost focus on these things and only saw what I didn't have. None of this was Stacy's fault. She never actually done anything bad to me. I'd made it all up in my head because I was jealous of her. So I sat down next to her and said, "No one's gonna call you that because I'll help you study." "You will?" She gave me a hopeful smile and I nodded. "Thank you so much." She flung her arms around me. So that's how Stacy went from being my enemy to my friend. She's actually a really sweet and kind-hearted girl. No wonder why everyone admired her so much. And I was wrong to judge her on her appearance and not give her a fair chance. She's still with Josh and she doesn't know that I hired him to break her heart. But hey, she now has a hunky boyfriend who adores her, so that could be considered compensation, right? Brian and I are still over, but thinking about it, maybe this was for the best. I know I overreacted, but he gave me up so easily, and well, I want to find a guy who won't do that. As for Sarah, I went around to her house with a bag full of her favorite candy, and I apologized for being a jealous jerk. Luckily for me, she forgave me. Now, Sarah, Stacy, and I have become good friends. Sarah and I both help Stacy with her studies, and she gives us fashion tips. And you know what? I've come to realize that I'm pretty after all. I just needed to discover my spark. So finally, I learned that no one's perfect. Perfection is just an illusion. The most important thing is that we feel happy with what we own and never stop improving ourselves. So just be you and let everyone else concentrate on being them.
I was wandering in the forest edge to amuse myself when I realized I got totally lost. What's that sound? All of a sudden, a blur of golden and black spots leaped towards me. I'm doomed! Guys, I'm here in Africa on vacation to support my parents with their new reality show. Oh, duty calls. See you later, Moaz. Hi, I'm Vivian, an influencer from Aachen, Germany. My mom and dad are actors, which does have some perks. They gave me everything I wanted. Branded clothes, supercars, fancy phones. Except for one thing. Their time. Christmas, birthdays, graduation ceremony. Whatever the occasion, they missed it. My friends thought I had the perfect life, but my only wish was to be picked up at school by my parents once. I was hoping this trip would be different, but it seems nothing has changed. They seem to have forgotten about their daughter's presence. Duh. That's why I always had to rely on strangers' attention, like this. Being here alone was so boring, so I decided to amuse myself by live streaming in the forest edge. Hey viewers! Oh crumbs, I only have one signal bar. Hang on. Looks like I wandered further than I meant to. No worries. What's that sound? All of a sudden, a blur of golden and black spots leaped towards me. I'm doomed! I still haven't eaten caviar pizza, and I still don't own a Gucci bag in every color! I haven't even become prom queen! I can't die! Wait, were my eyes deceiving me? Or was the leopard really knocked out by some jungle guy swinging on a vine? Oh boy, he sure does resemble Tarzan.
Beautiful!
Thank you? I turned to reach for my phone and realized it had fallen on the ground, and I was still live streaming. Viewers were bombarding me with sad and wow face emojis and flooding my comments with concerned messages. Then my parents and the crew showed up. Turns out this guy had been lost in the jungle since he was a little boy, and he was raised by monkeys. His parents had passed away by now. I know, but I got lost too. Then, Mom and Dad announced that they'd bring this jungle boy home under the guise of being charitable. Pfft, wasn't it for publicity? They named him Taz and gave him a makeover. Well, at least they tried to. All the suits he tried on tore, as he was way too muscly. It took an entire box of candy bars to make him agree to shave, and he still refused to cut his hair. He could only speak a limited number of words and sentences he remembered from being a kid, so Mom and Dad had to hire a tutor to teach him to read and write, which was me. He hated living in the house, and after several occasions where he climbed out of the window and slept in the garden, my parents built him an amazing jungle zone room. But then he kept me awake all night with his incessant ape howling noises. My parents even brought him to their shows, and all they talked about every day was Taz this, Taz that, which made me feel like an outsider. This was really hard for me, but I tried to be patient. Then one day, my parents told me the worst news ever.
Taz is going to come to school with you as your bodyguard. We don't have time to do it. At least this time we'll know you'll be safe.
What? But I don't need a bodyguard, especially not one that can't even speak properly.
Taz knows basic conversation now. I don't see the problem.
So the next day, Taz started to stick to me. I set some ground rules. He had to stay 10 feet away from me at all times, and he wasn't allowed to mutter a single word to me. Thankfully, Mia, my bestie, was there to provide some normality to the freak show that was currently my life. Coffee for the hottie.
Don't drink. Me test first. Taz say safe for V to drink.
Yummy! Then I quickly explained everything to her. He's kinda hot, in a wild way. Don't you dare say that again! But later, despite my rules, Taz stuck to me like glue.
Parents told Taz must guard V.
Worst of all, the other students treated him like a celebrity. They took his photo, asked him dumb questions which caused traffic congestion in the hall. He immediately ran up the wall like a ninja to escape the crowd, making them even more excited and chase after him. That night, I checked my Instagram and was excited to see that I was only 2K followers away from 500K. Yahoo! Then an account caught my eye. That dude even has a fan page? For real? He stole my parents, my school popularity, and now he's trying to steal my followers too? What's with these crazy people? Why are they all so obsessed with him? At least there still exists a normal person. And handsome as well. Yeah, my Henry. I've secretly liked him for years, but even this sassy Instagram queen has a weakness. Just looking at him made my legs shake, so I admired him in secret. The next day, I was sneakily putting letters and gifts on Henry's desk when Taz interrupted.
Why we do that?
It's for love. When you really like someone, you show them with romantic gestures. Okay, it's like giving your last morsel of food to someone even though you're extremely hungry. Got it? Seeing as Taz was huge, it was no surprise he was soon asked to join the basketball team. Guess who else was on it? Yep, Henry. So I've got an idea. Maybe Taz was my way of getting closer to him. I asked Taz to give Henry a soda, but Taz accidentally shook it too hard. So when Henry opened it, he got totally soaked. Then I told Taz to support Henry during the match, but Taz was so into the game that he accidentally pushed Henry's pants down, revealing his Hello Kitty underwear. Everyone laughed at him, and he was so humiliated that he ran off the court. After the match, Taz came to me, saying he was sorry, then continued,
Taz not like Henry.
I decided it was better to separate Taz and Henry before he ruined everything. All right, so I think it's best if you quit basketball.
But Taz likes basketball.
No big deal. I can ask my parents to build you a private basketball court and play with you? But from now on, you'll have to listen to me.
The best ape ever!
Shh, stop saying silly things. Taz seemed so grateful for his new basketball court that he started caring about me more. He brought me an overload of fresh fruit, a bit too fresh, and checked it on whenever I was sad. I had just been at ease for a while before Taz was messing around again. I had a movie premiere to attend and was about to change into my stunning Versace dress, only to discover it had been swapped for a dress made from actual leaves.
Green, beautiful, she said.
Luckily, I managed to arrange another dress just in time. But at the premiere, when the press interviewed me, Taz appeared.
The best ape ever!
I was so embarrassed. I turned bright red and forgot my words. Thanks to Taz, I became a netizen laughingstock. I swear that I would pay this back, and my chance finally came. The audience loved Taz, but big crowds freaked him out, and he always tried to find a way to hide. During one press conference, I saw him run off frightened, so I followed him. Hey Taz, is there a place that will make you feel better? I can take you there.
We take Taz to jungle, Taz happy.
So I took him to the Dower Forest. As soon as we got there, Taz's mood changed. He ran wild and then stopped at a large oak tree.
Why letters?
This is the bridegroom's oak tree. Local people like to leave love letters here. Then we sat down under the tree, and Taz looked so upset.
Taz not like bright light and flashes.
That's okay. We can just chill here, right? Great. Seeing Taz leave the show on his own, then surely Mom and Dad wouldn't like him anymore. Only, when we returned home, my parents weren't furious with Taz, but with me.
Vivian, you should be setting a good example for Taz, not just inciting and taking him away from important events. Can you stop acting like a child and think before you act for once?
I shut myself in my room and I had a complete meltdown. Then I rang Mia to confide in her. Living with Taz is a nightmare. He has to leave. What do you mean? I'm going to find a way to kick him out. The next day at school, I was walking along the hallway when Henry appeared in front of me.
V, you have to convince Taft to rejoin the basketball team. We can't win the final without him. Please, I'll do anything you want.
Wow, seems like my Christmas gift came early. Anything you say? How about taking me to prom?
Actually, that's what I've always wanted to do. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I was frozen. This was incredible! I guess my kick-out Taz plan would have to wait for now. So I humbled myself to convince him. As expected, with the help of Taz, the team won. Only neither he or Henry showed up to get their trophy. I went looking for them and found Taz pouncing on Henry. Taz, stop it! But he was too full off rage to listen to me, so I had to jump between them.
He is completely out of control. You can forget about the prom then.
This is all your fault. You stole everything from me since the day you were back from that freaky jungle, and now you've beaten up my crush. All you've done is ruin my life. Why can't you just give me alone? Then he left. For real. This felt great, as I'd finally got rid of the thorn in my eye. Only, I couldn't shake away this empty feeling. Scrolling through my old comments didn't help, and neither did live streaming. I suddenly realized I missed the special way Taz cared about me. And when with him, I didn't have to hide or force myself to be anything other than me. I aimlessly wandered to Dodor Forest and stopped at the oak tree. A letter poking out of the hole caught my eye. I picked it up and recognized it was Taz's try-to-be-neat but scribbled handwriting.
Henry liar. He's with Mia.
My head was still spinning when my phone went crazy. I checked and saw my inbox was full of rude comments. Then I soon found the viral audio. Living with Taz is a nightmare. He has to leave. I'm going to find a way to kick him out. I was literally petrified for a few seconds, while netizens kept going crazy, saying I was so ungrateful to Taz even after he'd saved my life. How could she? I immediately went to Mia's house to confront her about it. It was you, the only one I confided my story. Oh well, Miss Obvious. It was me. So what? Henry's mine, not yours. He just told you what you wanted to hear to get Taz back on the team. But that moron overheard Henry talking to me and dared to hurt him. You! Hi's, talk about the jungle, dud. Total simp and stupid. I told him you'd love a leaf dress and he totally bought it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get my hair done for a date with Henry. Mwah. I felt like an elephant had slapped right on the face. So Taz was right. Back home, I gloomily pulled out Taz's letter. But hold on, there's still another part. Why didn't I realize it sooner? Right then, my parents arrived home. They'd heard that audio and were absolutely furious.
It's your fault Taz ran away. Now we have to compensate for the contracts of the shows he was supposed to be in.
You don't care about anyone! Says you! All you do is give me money and that's it. You're never there when I need you. Never! Even Taz cares about me more than you both do. Then I ran off right away. I kept going until I ended up under this bridge. Then I saw him. He was playing with some stray cats and dogs. I immediately ran to hug him and started apologizing, but he pointed behind me and said,
Bad guys, bad guys.
I turned around to see two figures headed this way. I dragged Taz into the corner and we watched them bundle the cats and dogs into sacks. They were definitely up to no good, so I used my phone to record them, but...
What you aiming at, kids?
I woke up feeling dizzy to realize that we were both tied up in an abandoned house.
Still no reply from her parents. They better pay up, or else.
You're wasting your time. They don't care about me. The thieves ignored me and kept calling and calling, but still no answer. That was it. I was gonna die here. Then, when it was pitch black out there, the door barged open and walked in Mom and Dad with a bag of money. As the thieves counted the money, Dad tried dialing the police, but one of them came throwing his phone right away and beat him up.
Say goodbye to your daughter.
Please don't hurt her. Hurt me instead. This really shocked me, as I'd only ever seen other people bowing to my parents before, not the other way around. The one guy raised a plank of wood to hit me, but right at this time, Taz leaped free and knocked them out cold. The police arrived soon after that and arrested the thieves. Mom and Dad immediately rushed to me. Are you okay, sweetie? We were worried sick when you were nowhere to be seen, and we're sorry for making you feel unwanted.
We never had money growing up and struggled a lot. That's why we wanted a different life for you. We kept working and working and thought giving you money over our time was the best way to show our love, but we were wrong.
Mom, Dad, What I really need from you is your presence. It's more precious than anything. And thank you for everything.
Okay, I protect V. I protect animals too.
Now I've realized what I needed the most. It was to always stay true to myself, like this dummy. I didn't want to be some fancy influencer anymore. Instead, Taz inspired me to use my reputation to establish an organization to care for abandoned animals. As for my dear ex-best friend and dear ex-crush, meh, they didn't matter to me anymore. Cause you know what? The sweetest revenge is to live a fabulous life. At the end of the prom, I asked Taz about the note. Taz, did you write this?
I'm glad you asked. I practiced many times to say those words. Now time to say officially. I like you, V. You're my best ape ever.
I was swaying to the music with the hottest girl at school in my arms. Everything was perfect when suddenly I saw a flurry of red storm toward me, and then the next thing I knew, I was being slapped across the face. Ugh, it was my ex, Rosie. She was looking at me as if she wanted to snap me in half. Okay, so Rosie and me had only broken up yesterday, but that didn't mean she had the right to go full psycho on me. Hey, so I'm Andrew, and I like to think I'm a pretty smart guy. The problem is, I'm a sucker for hot girls. I tend to be blinded by their beauty. The result being, I don't always make the best decisions around them. But I had no idea what drama my weakness for a pretty girl was about to get me into. So it all began with the end-of-term college party, and my friends went heavy on drinks. So when my friend Brad bet me a burger that I would go and ask Lisa to dance, well, I didn't hesitate in approaching her. Geez, she's so hot, and way out of my league. So I was expecting her to tell me to go away, but instead she smiled and let me lead her over to the dance floor. While we were dancing, she whispered in my ear that she'd always loved me. Then, yep, you guessed it, Rosie, my crazy ex, stormed over and slapped me. I woke up the next morning with a pounding headache. Ugh, what was all that shouting coming from outside my own window? I wrapped my bed cover around me and shuffled my way over there to take a look. Huh, Lisa and Rosie were yelling at each other. He's mine, not yours. Stay away. He wants me, not you. Deal with it. Oh yeah? Well, maybe we should ask Andrew who he prefers. What's the point? As we both know, he'll pick me. I was far too hungover for this, so I closed the window and went back to bed. These girls, they wouldn't stop. For the next few days, they bombarded me with messages and waited for me outside my house. Okay, so most guys dream of two hot girls fighting over them, but trust me, watching them pull each other's hair extensions out isn't as glamorous as it sounds. Thankfully, my prayers were answered by none other than Richie, my awesome brother. He showed up with a ticket for a luxury 2-week cruise trip. He'd booked it ages ago, but then a work thing came up, so the ticket was all mine. Hell yeah. I hugged my brother, grabbed the ticket out of his hand, and started packing. The tricky part was sneaking past Rosie and Lisa, who were still lingering about outside. So I borrowed my housemate's hoodie and baseball cap, and pretended to be him to get past them. Result, they didn't even double look at me. Goodbye to my Lisa and Rosie nightmare, and hello to the vacation of my dreams. Ah, this is the life. Trust my brother to book such a lavish place. The room was huge, and it had my very own balcony. There was so much to do here, from the outdoor bar, dozens of restaurants, swimming pool, cinema. I was on my own floating complex. Heaven. The next morning when I woke up in my king-size bed, I took in the sounds of silence. Yup, oh sweet silence, how I've missed you. This was a no-girl arguing zone. I got changed and walked over to the outdoor bar. It definitely wasn't too early for a cocktail. I had a pair of shades on, and that's when I spotted her. Whoa, she was beautiful. I quickly ordered 2 cocktails and began walking toward her. I was about to hand her the drink when I tripped over a sun lounger, and in slow motion I watched the cup fall. I desperately tried to grab it, but nope. Instead, I managed to knock into her back. She let out a yelp and then yelled out, "You pervert! What do you think you're playing at?" I stood there open-mouthed, contemplating if I should dive into the pool to escape this drama or not. Then I looked down at my sunglasses, which in all the action had fallen off. Suddenly an idea came to me. So I bent down, stretched out my arms, and pretended to fumble around for them. She looked at me for a while, then picked my sunglasses up, placed them in my hand, and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Here, let me help you." Then she took my arm and guided me across the pool area. I thanked her. And then, with my trusty shades on, I watched her walk away. So she thought I was blind. Yup, this wasn't my greatest idea, but it got me out of a sticky situation with a hot girl at least. Later that night, I went to the buffet restaurant for dinner. I was stacking my plate when I bumped straight into someone and almost dropped my plate. Ugh, it was that hot girl again. I quickly put my shades on, then deliberately turned the wrong way and loudly said, "Oh, I'm sorry." She put her hand on my shoulder and guided me so I was facing her. then said, "Yeah, it's me, the girl from the pool. And it's okay. I should have been looking where I was going. Do you need any help?" I quickly cut her off. "No thanks, it's okay." Then I lifted my plate up to my nose and sniffed it. These prawns sure smell good. She raised an eyebrow at my food-smelling talent, so I carried on pretending to sniff the food as I put it on my plate. And you know what? She wouldn't quit staring at me. Eventually, she walked off. Phew, what a narrow escape. Afterward, I went to Top Deck Bar to chill out. With yet another cocktail, then who should walk over but, yeah, you guessed it, the hot girl. I immediately looked away from her, but what's this? She walked over to me and sat down opposite me. "Hey, do you remember me?" she asked. Seeing my chance to flirt with her, I replied, "Oh yes, how could I forget someone as beautiful as you are?" "Huh? How do you know that I'm beautiful?" Damn it, I needed to think before I spoke. "Ah, well, it's your voice. A sweet voice like yours can only belong to a beautiful girl." Crisis averted. As after that we started chatting, and oh boy, she's a sweetheart. Do you know that she's an activist for an organization that works hard to guarantee the rights of baby girls born in Africa? I know, amazing. The evening came to an end, and she said, "Oh, my name's Bella, by the way." I replied, "Bella, a name as beautiful as your soul. Mine's Andrew." She gave me a nervous giggle. "Well, Andrew, it's getting late, so I suppose I better get back to my cabin." I didn't want the night to ever end, so I blurted out, "Whoa, Bella, look at the sky. Isn't it so stunning?" She glared at me and then replied, "How would you know that?" Oops, of course, I was meant to be blind. I can feel it from the breeze." She gave me a quizzing look and said, "Right, well, good night. How about we meet at the arcade tomorrow, let's say 10 a.m.? I excitedly agreed, then she left. Another close escape. I really needed to be more careful. Bella, Bella, Bella. I couldn't stop thinking of her. The next day, I'm such a kid when it comes to arcades, I can't help it. My inner child comes out and, a car racing game. Nope, I was pretending to be blind. So I awkwardly lingered in the foyer and waited for Bella to show up. When she did, she took my arm and guided me through the arcade. She described all the different games machines to me, which I thought was really sweet. Then she led me over to the plushie grabber machine and squealed excitedly, "Hoo-hoo, I love these as a kid." Soon I was fumbling out to slot my money in, adamant I was going to win her a plushie. But wait, I was meant to be blind. So I touched the controls, then closed my eyes. Her laughter said it all. Massive fail. It was all going to be okay until Bella had to use the restroom and instructed me to stay put and wait for her by a shooting game machine, which just so happened to be my all-time favorite arcade game. I rushed over to it as soon as she was out of sight, grabbed a gun, and shot 5 cans in a row. Then I jumped up and down and whooped in the air. I turned around and saw Bella frown at me. Oh boy, busted. I tried to explain, but she just shook her head and said, "How could you? You're a coward, a pervert, and a liar." Then she ran off. I felt terrible. I tried searching the ship for her, but I couldn't find her anywhere. Feeling bummed out, I ordered a cocktail, then went for a walk across the deck. Suddenly, I heard shouting coming from below me. Huh? What was that? I peered down and saw a man and a woman trying to drag a little girl into one of the safety rafts. Hang on, they weren't alone. Bella was there too. She was trying to pull the little girl away from them. Without even thinking, I dropped my drink and ran over to them. I charged towards the woman, knocked her so hard she almost fell into the sea. The man reached out to steady her, which gave Bella a chance to pick up the kid. Then she grabbed my arm and pulled me away. After that, bad guys jumped into the raft and sailed away. We returned the girl to her parents. It turns out Bella was on her way to her cabin when she saw a couple in tears as they couldn't find their daughter. So she went looking for her and walked in on the kidnapping. After that, Bella forgave me. Well, I did save the day and all. And we spent the rest of the trip together. Then our last day, I got down on one knee and asked her to be my girlfriend. And she said yes. I took her back home with me. And as we walked over to my house, Lisa and Rosie ran towards me and started arguing with each other about who I liked more. Oh shoot, I'd forgotten about them. Reading the situation, Bella approached them. "Thank God you're here. I assume one of you is his girlfriend, right? There was an accident, and Andrew's blind now. He really needs someone by his side 24/7. Hearing that, I quickly coordinated with her by waving my arms wildly about. "So which one is your girlfriend, Andy?" It's Lisa." Rosie quickly chimed in. "No, he's all yours. We only hung out once." Ha, what suckers. I watched them run away. Then Bella and I burst out laughing. After that, I held my arm out to her and let her guide me home, for old time's sake. Lying to her about being blind was a jerky thing to do. I only did it in the first place because being around beautiful girls makes me so nervous I do dumb stuff. It's just lucky that Bella forgave me, because I think this dumbass may have found his dream girl.
I'd just climbed back into the room when suddenly I heard a voice. "Jasmine, how come you're only getting home now?" I turned around to find Emma standing there. That's my business. Don't come home late like this again, okay? You'll be grounded if your dad finds out. I shrugged and closed my door without saying anything. Yep, that's Emma, my stepmom. She doesn't actually care. She just pretends to. If it wasn't for her telling my dad to forbid me from singing, then I wouldn't have to sneak out to go practice like this. Different day, same story. Yet again, I've had to lie about going to my singing practice. Honestly, I can't wait to be an adult so I can do whatever I want. Dad, I'm going over to Mix to study, I said as I headed for the door. Suddenly, Emma pulled me back and handed me a bottle. Huh? Licorice tea? Drink this after practicing. It helps keep your voice clear. Then she winked at me. Huh? So she knew I lied about where I was going, yet still she'd helped me? Maybe, just maybe, I've been misunderstanding her this whole time? Later that night, Emma suggested we should go for a picnic on the weekend, and for once, I excitedly agreed. But when the weekend rolled around, there was this hectic snowstorm. Emma kept looking out at the snow with disappointment written across her face. That's when the idea hit me. How about we have an indoor picnic? Yes, that's right. That's a great idea. And so we set the tent right in our living room, and we were having the best time when suddenly the doorbell rang. I got up to answer it, and standing there covered in snow was a woman. She suddenly ran at me and said, "Oh my gosh, Jasmine, you've grown up so fast. I've missed you so much." Before I could understand what was going on, Dad shouted, "Megan, I can't believe you have the nerve to show up here like this. I know you won't accept my apology, but you don't understand. I had to see her. I've missed her every single day." Oh my God. So that woman was my mother? I couldn't hold back my tears and ran straight over to hug her. I swear I'd been waiting for this moment for years. Mom gently stroked my hair and then turned to my dad. "Can I stay here for a while? Just to make it up to my beloved daughter after such a long time being a part of this." "Are you joking? Get out of my house." "Dad, please let her stay. Please." But no matter how much I begged, Dad wouldn't give in. And so I turned to Em for help. "Elvis, just let her stay here. If Jasmine wants to be with her mom this badly, we should let them have some time together. Come on, darling." I looked at Emma with so much appreciation that turned those puppy eyes towards my dad, and eventually he reluctantly nodded his head. "Yay!" I shouted and led Mom to my room. From that day onwards, I spent most of my free time with her. We went to the movies together, shopping together, and honestly, it was the happiest I'd ever felt. One day, I was listening and humming along to my music when Mom came in. "Wow, so you also love singing? It must be genetic. Back then, if I hadn't been so passionately obsessed with music, which drove your dad crazy, I might never have left you like that. Now I regret it so much, Jasmine." I put my arms around her and softly said, "After all these years, I still think about that lullaby. Can you sing it to me?" "Which one?" "I sang you many lullabies back then. It's Don't Know Why by Norah Jones." "Oh, right. That one." Then she started singing. I swear to God, her voice was like an angel. But strangely, it didn't give me any of the feelings I had as a kid. Was it because I have grown up? While I was absorbed in my thoughts, I suddenly saw Emma's shadow at my doorway. But when she met my eyes, she hurried down the stairs. Huh? Why was Emma crying? I was so confused. "She must be jealous of our relationship," Mom said. "Yeah, probably, since she'd been married to my dad for 3 years, but we'd never been close." That evening, when I went to the kitchen with Mom to set the table, she suddenly shouted, "Oh my gosh! Why did Emma make chicken parmigiana? Doesn't she know that your dad hates this?" Then she took a plate and threw it in the trash, saying she would order takeaway instead. Huh? Dad hates this? He always complimented Emma on her signature dish. Before I could react, Emma entered the room. As soon as she saw her chicken in the trash, she glared at Mom. Things then got so awkward. Emma had skipped dinner. Mom also tried to start a conversation with Dad a few times, but he ignored her. I felt so bad for Mom. In my dad's eyes, there was only Emma now. But my mother had nothing wrong. She just wanted to pursue her passion. Later that night, I was heading to the pantry to get some snacks when I heard Emma yelling at Mom. Megan, for old time's sake, I didn't bring up anything from the past, but you can't just do whatever you want. How dare Emma yell at my mom like that? As soon as Emma left, I ran over to my mom asking her what had happened. She hesitated for a while, then told me the whole story. It turned out Mom and Emma used to be in the same band when they were young. And since Mom was always the lead singer, Emma had begrudged her ever since. Perhaps she has never gotten over it. Ugh, I didn't expect Emma to be so mean. So from that day on, I began to show my attitude towards Emma. I didn't let her go to the parent-teacher conference like I had promised before, and I even forbade Mick, my best friend, from talking to her every time he came over. Mom, how did you and Dad meet back in the day? Well, back then, your dad was a waiter at the lounge I used to sing at every weekend. We quickly fell in love and started leaving love letters for each other at our secret spot.
Ew, how cheesy.
It's called romantic, you silly. At that time, we put our initials at the end of every letter. Suddenly, there was some noise at the door, and I turned to see Dad standing right behind us.
What do you mean, our initials? It represented our two favorite characters' names from that movie.
Yes, it was the initials of Monica and Quincy in the movie Love and Basketball. Dad gaped at Emma in surprise as she continued. I was the one writing letters to you that year, but when I got to the meeting spot, I saw you and Megan together, so I left. Dad and Emma looked at each other, then turned to stare at Mom. Actually, back then I liked you so much that I pretended to be Emma, but it's not that important. In the end, you were still into me and we got along really well, right?
I can't believe you lied to me like this for all these years.
Then Dad angrily left the room, followed by Emma. As for Mom, she was sitting there, tears pouring from her eyes. Okay, so Mom was definitely in the wrong, but did Dad need to treat her like that? Who doesn't make mistakes from time to time? And anyway, it's because of my mom's mistake that I'm even here, right? From that day onwards, the atmosphere in the house was so intense. Dad ignored Mom, and Emma always gave Mom hateful looks. Until one day, I just got home from school when I saw my dad excitedly running towards me saying,
Emma is pregnant. You're going to have a little brother or sister.
Wow, I'd always wanted to have a sibling. I couldn't believe it. So that night, my family threw a party to celebrate, and Mom also congratulated Dad and Emma. And thanks to that, the tension between the three of them started to ease. Phew. But a few days later, for some reason, Dad found out that I'd lied about going studying with Mick. He was furious and grounded me for a week. I was sullenly playing on my iPad when Mom entered the room. Emma must be the snitch. Now that she's pregnant, she wants Dad to be angry with you, so he'll give all his love to her and the baby. Well, that just made sense. The other day, I'd even seen Emma whispering something to Dad, and as soon as he heard it, he got mad. Ugh, such a two-faced woman. I had to sort this out, and so I set up a fun plan for my stepmom. One time, I made her orange juice using powdered cheese, and she ended up spitting out all over Dad. Then I unscrewed the shower head to add blue food coloring, and that's how I gave her a Smurf makeover. It was hilarious hearing her horrid scream from the bathroom. Another time, I snuck into Emma's room, trying to put flour in her hairdryer. I was rummaging through the bedside table looking for her hairdryer when suddenly I saw a DVD labeled Jasmine 0311. Huh? What's this? Why was my name on it? Curious, I went back to my room to play it, and then I couldn't believe my eyes. On the screen, Emma was carrying a baby and singing a lullaby to her. This melody. Wasn't it the song Don't Know Why? So that baby was me? But Emma couldn't sing, could she? Her voice was weak and sounded hoarse. What did this mean? I rushed to show my dad the DVD.
Emma told me not to talk about this, but since you already know, I won't hide it anymore.
Then he told me everything. Turns out my mom left for a rich man when I was only 2 years old, and it was Emma who came and helped my dad take care of me during my younger years. Oh my gosh. What? So all those memories of my mom's warm hugs and lullabies were all actually of Emma? A feeling of guilt welled up in my heart. I had to do something to apologize to Emma. So the next day, I asked Mick to go to the mall to help me buy her a gift. As I was passing a coffee shop, I suddenly saw my mom sitting with some guy. Without thinking much, I quickly pulled Mick to a nearby table and eavesdropped on them.
Honey, how's the money? You know how pushy the creditors are, and they're getting kinda aggressive.
Don't worry. It won't be long now. My daughter's on my side. She'll help me kick her stupid stepmom out. Then my ex-husband will soon follow her wish and volunteer to give me money. What? What was going on? Had Mom come back just for Dad's money? I was about to go confront her when my phone rang. It was Dad. Jasmine, go to the hospital right away. Emma is in the emergency room. By the time I got there, I saw my dad sitting outside the ER with his head in his hands. After a while, the doctor came out and said, "Both mother and baby are okay. Next time, please pay more attention to the patient's food allergy." How could you eat stuff you're allergic to? You must be more careful, okay? Yeah, Emma always took good care. It didn't make sense. Unless my mom... I was about to tell Dad about what I'd seen at the mall when Mom suddenly appeared, eagerly asking about Emma's situation. Unable to stand her pretense any longer, I shouted, "Mom, drop the act. It was you who did all of this, wasn't it?" Jasmine, what nonsense are you uttering? Furious, I immediately told them the whole story I've heard. Megan, I could forgive you for the old letter story and for trying to sabotage my voice, but the fact that you wanted to harm my baby is unforgivable. It turns out the stuff in the past that she mentioned before was that my mom harmed her to destroy her voice. So that's why Dad didn't let me sing, for fear that would cause Emma pain. Suddenly Mom burst out laughing. I don't need your pity. You were so lucky to have such a beautiful voice and a wonderful man by your side. And even now, you're still trying to take the life that should have been mine. Megan, give it up already. You need to stop this. Mom was about to say something, but I interrupted her. Mom, please just go. I'm so ashamed to have a mother like you. Then I burst into tears. She got up and left, without even so much as a glance back at us. Emma took me in her arms. I was afraid that you would be disappointed. That's why I hid everything from you. I'm sorry for treating you so badly. She gently patted my head, and I felt like I was back in my childhood, where she'd held me and sang lullabies. It was so comforting. Finally, peace has returned to my family. I'm so fortunate to have Emma as a stepmom, and pretty soon, my little bro or sis will be here, and I can't wait.
I and Pearl were playing our favorite, playing Disney Princess. You have to be the princess this time, Ruby. We're gonna make a perfect Elsa and Anna. No, I'm going to be your knight, fighting all the bad guys and protecting you, milady. Then a maid knocked on the door with a phone in her hands. That might be my parents.
Ruby, the school called again. How on earth could you get all these words spelled wrongly? What kind of nurse is spelled with a Z?
I am really trying.
It's alright, bae. Studying isn't for everyone, and she might be of a sport type. Sweet pea, could you just try a little more next time? Good girl. We have to go now. Bye.
I know you can do this. You just need to keep practicing. You're perfect just the way you are. Hi everyone, I'm Ruby, and this is my little sister, Pearl. Since my parents were always away for business trips, it's always been me and her growing up together. You already know I was terrible at studying, but Pearl was nothing like me. She was a genius. What are you doing, Pearl? For God's sake, it's 6 a.m. The sun is still sleeping, and you should be sleeping too. Absolutely not. Today is my first day in high school, and I have to make a good impression. My streak must continue. Straight A's since 2015, I know. As if your valedictorian title is impressive enough. I might be Ruby, the dumb kid who couldn't read half a word, but it doesn't matter, because now I am Ruby, the awesome soccer captain. Yes! Go Ruby! That's my sister, everyone! I led the school soccer team to win multiple trophies, and I also aimed at the varsity scholarship myself. Studying was still a nightmare, but I gradually accepted I wasn't born for studying, but for soccer. So all was well. So that morning, I was walking with Pearl on her first day at school when Beth and her clique approached us. Hey Ruby, ready to flunk your junior year? Aw, Beth, still salty because coach left you on the bench yesterday? My advice for you would be to learn how to actually play soccer. Unfortunately, some of us have other things going on to focus on, like our brains. Oh, oops, you don't have one. You can't understand. Sorry. Boo-hoo, funny. That's Beth on my soccer team who always messed with me like everyone else. But all's now, as I had my dear sister studying in the same school as me. Sis, I found my class. I have to go now. Bye. The next day at school, we had a new English teacher.
Ruby Walker, you read the summary on page 10.
Oh, so rude. Oh dear, is that your thinking face? Didn't know you were capable of that. Sorry, teacher, but she can't read. You know what? My thoughts today on the book can be summarized into the classic song by the amazing Taylor Swift. So the haters gonna hate, but I'm just gonna shake it off. Just then, the entire class was in a frenzy, and everyone was singing, dancing, like they were in the Eras tour. The teacher was so upset and tried to calm everyone down, but I was sent to the principal's office immediately.
First trouble in the junior, Ruby. Listen, both you and I know how much you mean to the team, but unfortunately, it is not enough anymore. New district laws state that students must average at least C- to be eligible for the varsity scholarship.
What? But I'm most qualified for it.
I am sorry, but until you can move grades from whatever it is right now to a C-, you're off the team to focus more on your studying. Beth is now our candidate for the scholarship, and she'll take over your place.
Beth? That girl scored just 5 goals all season when I had scored 20? The world was really getting crazy. No way was I going to watch my passion get taken away from me that easily. I'm gonna study hard. Right, I'm gonna ask Pearl to tutor me. Ah, speak of the devil. Hi, Pearl. You know her? I heard she's kicked out of the soccer team because she's too dumb. Oh, no. No.
How scandalous if our valedictorian did.
Well, maybe that wasn't a good time. That night, I dozed off at my desk writing 4 words over and over again. I am not dumb. The news spread that I got kicked off the team because of my grades, and the kids at school were vicious with their insults. Like I didn't have enough issues already, Pearl started to avoid me like a plague, as if she's ashamed of me. So I couldn't ask her to tutor me either. It's like the whole world was going against me. The district superintendent was visiting our school, and the principal chose the 2 smartest kids to give a welcome speech, Pearl and a new student, Joe, from my class. So we started to hang out a lot at our home to prepare for the speech.
Hey, Ruby, need any help with tomorrow's test?
Nah, I am famously unteachable. Don't waste your time on me, and Pearl is waiting for you.
It's all right, she can wait. Let me help.
Surprisingly, for the first time in my life, I felt like I'd actually learn. There was something about the way he taught me that made me absorb knowledge naturally. Like he understood me and my struggles. Hey, there you are. I've been looking for you.
We have a test coming, so I was helping Ruby.
And we have a huge speech to give on Thursday.
You know nobody actually listens to those speeches, right? Anyway, I trust you to come up with something incredible.
Pearl stormed out angrily, but the only thing in my mind then was that I actually could learn. Hey, Joe, please teach me more. Joe could help me learn to get better grades, and then I could finally get back my team and win scholarship. Later that night, when I was practicing some test questions Joe gave me, Pearl barged into my room. I am not comfortable with you spending time with my boyfriend alone. Boyfriend? I didn't know you were dating. Well, not yet. Not with you hogging him and giving me space to charm him. Oh, sorry. I was just excited. Joe is an incredible teacher. I was actually learning. Yeah, right. Of course you're capable of that. Pearl left my room, and it felt like a knife went through my heart. Since when did she think of me like that? Like everyone else does. But she always believed in me. The next day was the speech, and even though I was heartbroken, I still went to support her, and I clapped the loudest after she gave her amazing speech. Thank you for granting us a chance to study here. On behalf of the whole school students, I'll try my best to bring glory to our school's tradition. Wonderful speech, but I think before you bring glory to our school, shouldn't you teach your beloved sister, Ruby Walker, how to read first? I mean, maybe your dummy sister could learn 1 or 2 words from you before getting kicked out of her school. The whole auditorium burst out laughing, and my rage was filling my body. I lunged at Beth and grabbed her stupid ponytail until she screamed so loud even the moon could hear her. Teachers and guards tried to separate us, while other students were excitedly shouting and cheering. In the middle of the messy crowd, I saw Pearl look at me in shame. I ran to her, but she just brushed me off. It's you again. Joe isn't enough, and now you try to steal my spotlight as well. What? No, never meant harm to you, I swear. But she didn't listen to me and angrily stormed off. I was so angry at my brain for always failing me, and at everyone. Now my dream was gone, and my dear sister hated me as well. I fell down on the bleachers and saw Beth wearing my captain's armband, gathering everyone to morning practice. She waved at me with the widest smile. It was hard to fight the tears, so I let them fall.
There you are. I was looking for you to continue our classes.
I think we should continue our classes.
Why?
Pearl, she doesn't like you and I together, and she will hate me for this.
Oh, I will talk to her, but this is more important. You need to get back on the pitch.
But you're just wasting your time on me. I'm just an idiot who ruined others' lives. No, you're not an idiot at all. You're dyslexic, like me. I've noticed your symptoms for a while, but I wasn't so sure. But I am now. Dyslexia? There's a name for this? So I'm not stupid? No, you just learn differently. I will help you and teach you all the things specialists taught me. My mind was fuzzy. I gave Joe a hug without thinking. I felt relief spread all over my body. I wasn't dumb. I was dyslexic. At home that night, I searched everything about dyslexia and even took an online assessment when suddenly Pearl barged in. You told Joe I like him? Yes and no, but not like that. Well, thank you so much. He just called to tell me he just considered me a little sister. And you know what? I saw you hugging him on the bleachers this afternoon. So you're going behind my back all this time? What a sister! Don't ever speak to me again! Pearl stormed out and kept her words of never speaking to me. It broke my heart to see us parting like this. Luckily, Joe comforted me and helped me stay focused on studying. Now that I knew what my problem really was and how to fix it, I improved every day. The letters didn't make me dizzy like before anymore, and our effort finally bore fruit as I got my first B- ever on a test. And in no time, I got called to the principal's office. It has been incredible watching you turn your grades around. Good job, Ruby. I always knew you're a gem like your name, and you just need some sharpening. Welcome back to the team. Thank you! I ran out of his office and rushed to find Joe immediately. We did it! I'm back on the team! Congratulations! But that was all you. You did it, Ruby. That moment would have been perfect if I could celebrate with Pearl. I knew she didn't want to talk to me, but I really wanted to share this with her. But upon seeing me and Joe, she was just shooting me death rays. The joy in my mouth instantly turned to ash. I just wished we could go back the old good days together, but I had no idea how. With me coming back to the team, I reclaimed a captain title and was eligible for the varsity scholarship. And of course, my impressive record easily got me the win. Congratulations to Ruby Walker for winning this year's varsity scholarship. Come on stage. Thank you very much, sir. All I can say is I'm immensely grateful for this chance, and I'm gonna try my best. Hi, everyone. Ruby's too shy, so she did prepare a speech here. Good luck. Except I didn't prepare this note. Everyone in the audience all locked eyes on me, and I was sweating all over when I took the paper from her. Today is Oh, our scholarship winner just had a little problem. She just couldn't read. I hope it won't affect the scholarship much. Will it? I ran out of the hall before the tears blurred my eyesight. Joe was racing after me, but Pearl caught me first. Pearl, I don't really have time for your mocking now. No, I'm sorry. Joe told me about your dyslexia, and you should, Yeah, it can wait. But you need to go back there right now. You've tried so hard to earn place. I wouldn't let my sister waste it just because of Beth's dirty move. Joe also nodded encouragingly at me. Pearl was right. It's my passion. It's me or no one who would claim it. So I walked back into the hall, and as soon as I appeared, everyone started to laugh. I stepped up to the mic, took a deep breath, and read the speech. There were still some stumbles and stuttering, but I went through to the last word. Hi everyone, I'm Ruby. You all can see I have some troubles reading because I have dyslexia. All my life, I have struggled and accepted that I was stupid. Until now, I know I'm not. I still haven't figured out how to read big words, but I am not ashamed of my struggles anymore, and no one should bear the troubles I've had. Dyslexic people like me need others to help us, to acknowledge our difficulties, and to be given a chance, like any others. We're not dumb. We just need a different way to learn. Thank you. The hall was completely silent for a while before standing up for an ovation. I walked away from the podium to see the scowling look on Beth's face. I went backstage, where Pearl gave me a warm hug. I'm so proud of you. And I'm sorry, I should have helped you, but instead I've been horrible or even cruel to you. Yeah, you've been forgiven. So now could you please just stay quiet? I just want to hold my little sister longer. I missed this hug. I missed Pearl. My Pearl. It's good to have my sister back. And just like that, my life was back to normal. Of course, with some changes. There's something I need to tell you, Ruby. I'm sorry for the Joe thing. I let jealousy take over me and said bad things to you, but I realized he and I would never become a thing. But you would. Huh? No, we're just friends. Are you? Now come with me. Then she dragged me to the living room where Joe and another boy were standing. Then she placed my hand in Joe's. Joe, could you please take care of my sister when I go out with my boyfriend? Sure.
Hi, I'm Janelle, and today I'm here with my best friend Annabelle. This story is about how we got surgery so that we could look exactly the same. Sounds weird, right? Well, let us explain. So, we grew up next door to each other. Our moms were besties, and they even timed their pregnancies so that we'd be born at the same time. Unfortunately, Janelle took her time and came a few days late. In fact, she's often late. So, I'm slightly older, but we've always shared our birthdays and had joint parties. Hey, I'm not often late. It just takes me longer to do my hair. Anyway, it was pretty funny. Our moms dressed us in exactly the same clothes. Everyone always said we looked so cute, and that if it weren't for how different our faces were, we could almost pass off as twins. Even our names rhymed. We used to always sing this little song. I'm Janelle and I'm Annabelle. Look at our grins. It's because we're twins. It was so lame, but we loved it. Everyone at school always wanted to be our friend, but we were happier when it was just the two of us. One day, a boy in our class said to me that Annabelle was prettier than me because she had blonde hair. I never forgot that comment. It hurt me so much. Yeah, so a few years later, when we were 14, I helped Janelle bleach her hair. Her parents freaked out, but it was so cool. We now have the same hair and the same clothes, and then we started experimenting with makeup. My eyes were slightly smaller than Janelle's, and a totally different color, but with the help of special contact lenses and lots of mascara, our eyes started to look the same. In high school, people thought it was a bit weird. When prom came around, we went with each other. It's not that we liked each other in that way, it's just that if one of us didn't have a date, it wasn't fair on the other. Annabelle actually got asked by this one guy, but he refused to take both of us, so she told him no. After graduation, we obviously went to the same college, and we put in a special request to be in the same dorm. I think everyone thought we were just going through a phase and that we'd eventually stop dressing the same, but they were wrong. Yeah, we loved looking the same, so much that we actually scheduled in to see a plastic surgeon just after our 18th birthdays. I decided that Annabelle was prettier, so she wouldn't need as much surgery done. In fact, I was happy to just change my face to be like hers. But she said it wasn't fair if it was only me who had to go through all that pain. Our families were not okay with any of it. They started to worry about us, and our moms started blaming themselves for making us dress alike when we were little. Why didn't anyone understand that we wanted to be twins? It was all we'd ever wanted, and now we could make it happen. Luckily, we'd been given a nice amount of money for our 18th birthdays, so we used that to pay for the surgery. We decided we'd change our noses and make them smaller, and then Janelle would change the shape of her jaw to make it more like mine. And we both decided to get our lips plumped up, as we thought it looked cuter. The plastic surgeon kept trying to tell us it wasn't a good idea, that it wasn't normal to want to look exactly like someone else. But we persisted until he had no choice but to do it. Afterwards, we both lay there, our faces completely bandaged up. It was so sore, but at least we had each other for company. When we finally got out of the hospital a few days later, we were so excited. We put on our favorite matching dress and went home to show our parents. My mom immediately burst out crying when she saw my new nose. She thought I looked so ugly now, and she kept telling me I'd made a big mistake, and Janelle's mom almost fainted. I guess we did look a bit freaky at first, but that was just because we were fresh out of surgery. People in the street looked at us really weird, and back in college, everyone was shocked. We even heard someone calling us freaks. But we were so happy we didn't care. Our childhood dream of being twins had finally come true. We were 18 though, and neither of us had ever had a boyfriend. I suggested that we make a profile on Tinder of both of us, saying that we're twins looking for a guy who'd like to date both of us. We didn't think anyone would be interested, but there were so many guys who messaged us. The first date we went on was a disaster. He thought we just meant we wanted a threesome, but when we said we were seriously looking for a guy to date us both, and maybe even marry us both one day, he was shocked and left. And our dates kept going in the same way. No one would date us both. And then we came up with an idea. After college, we could move somewhere where polygamy is legal, and then we can both marry the same guy and live happily ever after. Yeah, it might seem weird to people, and it definitely upsets our family, but we love looking the same, and it would be awesome if we could have the same surname too. One day soon, hopefully. Wish us luck, and thanks for listening.
Hey, it's your girl Nicole back again. So, my mom couldn't deal with my truancy anymore, so she packed me off to live with my dad. The problem is, he's the principal of a snooty school that barely has any female students, and he forced me to attend it. The school needed to get with the times and be more female inclusive, so I started a girls-only club called The Doll to get us noticed. It was all going well, but then Dad let the news slip that I was his daughter. By first break, everyone in school knew who I was. Soon, kids who'd never spoken to me before were offering to help me with my homework. The teachers seemed nervous around me. I get it. Nobody wanted to be seen quarreling with the principal's daughter. Even the grumpy canteen woman completely changed too. Now, she even gave me double portions of chicken. It sounded good, right? Nope. Instead, it was kinda annoying. Then on top of all this, my friends started doing crazy stuff behind my back. They put lipstick kisses on random lockers, snuck in the faculty room and set up a doll's tea party, and then they did the biggest prank of all. Yep, they actually went into the gym hall and hung up garlands of panties, bras, and tampons alongside a massive banner saying, "Welcome to the girls' world." Wow, even I thought they'd gone too far with this one. My dad was fuming about it. I was terrified they'd get expelled. There were barely any girls in the school as it was, without me losing my only female classmates. But they ended up getting a week's worth of detentions and were made to stay behind after school and clean up the gym hall. Phew! The next day, my friends came up to me while I was at my locker, and Angela said, "Detention sucks, but that prank is so worth it. Just wait till you see what we've got planned next." She winked. "It's definitely going to be a washout." Carly chuckled. Enough was enough, so I told them to inform the rest of the doll to meet me in the gym after school. Okay, so I may have sneakily taken the gym's key out of my dad's pocket, but it was for the greater good. Now I had all of the dolls together. I said what I needed to say. "Hey girls, look, I know this school favors boys, and it's understandable you want to be seen, but all these pranks are making us look bad. I know my dad, and the only way he's going to listen to us is if we do something that gets across our point in an honorable way. So I'm going to run in the next student council election." Before I'd even finished my sentence, Carly said, "But that position is only for the boys." So I replied, "I think it's time we change that, don't you? So, who's with me?" To my surprise, all of the girls in the room raised their hands and cheered. After that, I launched my campaign. The 2 candidates with the highest number of votes would go through to the final round. At first, I didn't get much attention, but then this was surprising, as I was the only girl competing. The other competitors took it super seriously. One boy handed out free t-shirts with his name on them, and another stuck leaflets on everyone's locker listing 10 reasons why he was the right person for the job. No way. I needed to come up with a plan. So I came up with a familiar, extremely effective strategy called Beauty Trap. Ha! No boy could escape it. One of my main focuses was that I wanted to put the buzz back in this school and make it inclusive for all. So I took that one step further, and me and my team dressed up as cute bees and handed out homemade black and yellow cupcakes. Then, whenever a boy spoke to us, we winked at them, handed them candy, and told them it was just for them because they were the cutest. And it worked. Of course! I made the final 2, and it came down to me against Brandon, the super smart guy. So now all I needed to do was work on my presentation, which I'd give in the schoolyard. How boring it was! So a bright idea crossed my mind. Why didn't we combine the finals with prom night, where students could not only vote for the potential president, but also dress up and socialize? I told my team about my amazing idea, but to my surprise, they looked doubtful. "The teachers will never let that happen. They are so anti-parties, it hurts," Carly said. "You just leave this to me," I smirked. My dad may have been strict, but he was no match for me. So that night after dinner, I told him my plan. At first, he was so surprised and didn't agree, as he said that we couldn't combine the election ceremony with a sing and dancing party, as it would take the dignity out of it. Ugh! My dad was stuck in the past. So I said, "But Dad, it'll be a good opportunity for all the students to hang out with each other. Me and my friends will decorate the hall, find a DJ, sort the food and drink, and do everything else. I know you have your reservations, and I get that. But prom is an important event for us teenagers. We learn so much from them: how to dance, how to feel good about ourselves, how to mix with each other. Plus, we need this. And I promise I won't let anyone spike the punch. In fact, we won't even have punch. It took a lot more pleading and persuading, but eventually he sighed, then said, "Fine, you can have your prom, but don't let me regret it." I squealed in excitement, then rushed over and hugged him. He looked shocked. As thinking about it, this was the first time I'd hugged him in, well, years. I have to admit that it kind of felt good. I instantly messaged the group with my good news, and they replied with memes, love hearts, and dancing emojis. And the talk soon turned to what we were going to wear. See, being friends with the daughter of the principal had many advantages, right? I'm not going to lie, organizing a prom was hard, but luckily for me, I have amazing friends who helped me all the way. Carly sorted out the decorations and found a DJ, and Angela was in charge of tickets. The night of the prom finally arrived, and wow, everyone scrubbed up well. The doll members gave a welcoming dance performance. Then Brandon and I went up on stage to give our presentations. Brandon went first, and geez, he's Mr. Serious, but he is cute. He went on about improving the nutritional value of school meals, organizing more school trips for the chess, math, and sports clubs, and doing more to help the climate crisis, such as raising money, recycling, and producing solar energy to lower the school's carbon footprint. It sounded convincing, right? But it was a little bit boring. He was such a nerd, albeit a cute one, and I had to pretend to itch my nose so I could secretly yawn. I heard clapping. Oh no, that meant it was my turn, and I wasn't prepared. The prom had taken up my time and, what should I say? That's when I looked over at my dad, who was standing at the back of the room, and I saw him nod at me. So I took center stage and decided to let my heart do the talking. Hi, guys and girls. Some of you may know me as the rebel girl who stirred up trouble when I first arrived here, while others may just know me as the principal's daughter. The truth is, I'm just a normal student like the rest of you, one who had some major doubts about coming here. I could hear some people whispering in the crowd, but I kept calm and carried on. I didn't think I'd like it here, but it turns out I was wrong. I've made some amazing friends, and I've grown to really kind of like this place. However, the outdated attitude toward the female students frustrates me. Times have changed, and we belong here too. So it's only right we have our own uniform, clubs tailored for us, and please, no more bench presses. Girls are just as good as boys, if not even better. For example, we, the awesome girls in the doll, set up this party all by ourselves. Together, let's make our high school life more brilliant and inclusive for all, because this school has something special. And I want everyone to see that with a little care and attention, it can truly buzz. Wow, I'd done it. All of the students cheered and applauded. Even Brandon patted me on the shoulder and said, "Well done. Your presentation was so convincing. You've got my vote." Then he winked at me. OMG. What did that mean? After that, I joined my friends on the dance floor and made the most of the amazing dance we'd organized. Finally, it was the results time. One of the teachers went on stage with the envelope containing the winner's name. Then she opened it and said, "With 2/3 of the votes, you've chosen your winner, and it's Nicole." I couldn't believe it. I'd done it. I'd actually won. When I walked off the stage, Dad came over and hugged me tight. Then he said, "Darling, I'm really proud of you." And that was it. Now I'm the president of the student council, and as I promised in my presentation, I'm making the school an inclusive place for all. Now we have more activities for girls, including a cheerleading club. Although, of course, boys can join too. We even have a girls' uniform, so I don't have to wear those hideous baggy pants anymore. Now, everyone seems happier here, including me. Mom heard about my change in attitude and invited me to come back home. But I can't go back. I belong here in this school with my new friends. Maybe, just maybe, I do love this place after all. Who'd have thought it? It's crazy, huh?
Hi, it's Sam again. I'm just your standard guy who, is pretending to be gay so that his fake fiancée Julia has time to realize how much of a stud he is and fall for him. Yeah, I don't know how I got myself into this situation either. Things between Julia and me were going pretty well. Of course, there were a few awkward moments, but that's to be expected, right? One time, we're sitting on deck chairs in the living room, as we still hadn't replaced the couch, and we were watching a movie together. I noticed Julia wafting her hand in front of her and itching at her skin. Then she said, "It's too hot, I'm coming out in sweats." Being the gent I am, I replied, "Do you want me to get you an ice-cold glass of water?" "No," she shook her head. "It's just this stupid bra. I need it off right now. Don't look." Geez, this was way too much for me. I resembled a blushing tomato as I clumsily turned in another direction and looked out the window. Oh man, I can see her reflection in it. She was putting her hand inside her shirt, and after a second, she pulled the bra out. Oh wow. It was like watching a live performance of David Copperfield. On another occasion, I was in town when Julia texted me saying, "Hey bestie, could you please go to the shop for me? I forgot Aunt Flo was visiting today." Her aunt was coming over? Why didn't she mention it before? I tried to keep my cool and just texted back, "Okay, is your aunt staying for dinner?" Julia immediately rang me laughing hysterically. It turns out Aunt Flo means she was having her period. Oh my god, girls and their codes. But most memorable of all was the bathroom incident. Julia was taking a shower, but she didn't lock the door. Of course, I didn't realize she was in there, so I went inside to use the toilet. Right at that moment, Julia started getting out of the shower, saw me, freaked out, screamed, tripped, got caught in the shower curtain, and fell onto the floor. I wanted to help, but it was kind of an awkward moment for me too, and I didn't know where to look, so I just ran out and closed the door. Regardless of awkward moments like that, I felt so happy being around Julia so much. Each day I found myself falling for her that little bit more. I even found her weird habits attractive, such as how she always slurped when drinking coffee. And she had a serious obsession with post-it notes. She scribbled messages on them and stuck them around the house. I even found one stuck to the milk saying, "Drink me." I loved her, and I was more determined than ever to conquer her heart. But then one day something horrible happened. She was over an hour late home for dinner, so I texted her asking where she was. She replied, "Sorry, I'm on a date, see you later." Oh no, I had to stop it. So I texted back, "Oh, it's just the idiot here has lost his keys. Where are you? Can I come borrow yours?" She replied with the name of some bar in town. Oh great, dating in bars is the worst. I immediately drove there, and as soon as I saw them, I rushed over and greeted them. When her jerky asked me if I was Julie's friend, I gave him a big fat smile and replied, "Oh no, I'm her fiancé." The look on his face was priceless. He instantly excused himself and ran off. Julia looked furious and started yelling at me. I told her it was an accident, and the words just slipped out, but she didn't look convinced. Unfortunately, this didn't stop her from dating other guys. She turned into the dating queen. She was always scrolling through dating apps and taking new selfies for her profile pictures. Obviously, I wasn't happy about this, but she thought I was gay. So what was I meant to do about it? Then she took it too far. She invited one of these guys over to our place for dinner on our Wednesday taco night. How could she? I couldn't use the fiancé trick anymore, as Julia would kill me. So I had to think up another genius idea to send this jerk packing. She introduced me to him as her gay roommate. So while we were eating the delicious tacos I had made, I thought up an awesome idea. I started touching this guy's arm and saying things like, "Ooh, you're so muscular. How often do you work out?" Then I turned up the heat and put some footsie under the table with him. He was smiling over at Julia. Poor guy must have thought it was her doing it. And when he bent under the table to pick up his fork, he saw it was my foot. He was so shocked that he hit his head on the table. That was hilarious. He made some excuse after that and left in a hurry. Julia was confused and didn't know what happened. And I just shrugged and said, "I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like tacos." Another success for me. Then, one day, Julia's parents were throwing an anniversary party, and of course, Julia and I had to appear like a loved-up couple. Fine by me. Julia was introducing me to some of her relatives, and I was impressing them with my charm when I noticed her stare off across the room. I followed her gaze and saw a guy hand in hand with a girl walking toward us. Turns out it was her cheater ex and her cousin. Worse still, they told us they were getting married and we were both invited to the wedding. Ugh, poor Julia clung to my arm. I could tell she was trying to hold in how furious she was, but she forced a smile and told them we were looking forward to it. After the party, she told me to go home first, as she had some business to take care of. I had a bad feeling about this, as I knew how upset she was about her ex. I didn't want her to leave by herself, so I followed her. One guess where a heartbroken, angry, miserable girl would go on a Saturday night. Yep, a noisy, sweaty club. Thank God I'd followed her. I stayed close and kept an eye on her. Seeing her ex must have triggered some bad memories because she was drinking a lot. Then 2 guys appeared and started talking to her. A moment later, they started to drag her away. She resisted, but that didn't stop them. So I rushed over, grabbed their shirts, gave them a dirty look, and said with a super deep voice like Thor, "Leave the girl alone." Oh man, they were so scared they immediately left. Julia looked surprised and relieved to see me. I drove her home, and on the way, I asked her why she was still upset about her idiot ex. She sighed out, "I'm not. I just hate the fact that a jerk like him can marry someone and be happy. He doesn't deserve it, and it's so not fair." When we got out of the car, I put my hand on her shoulder, looked deeply into her eyes, and said, "That loser doesn't belong with a beautiful girl like you. Both him and your cousin are jerks, and they deserve each other." Julia nodded and smiled at me. After that, Julia and I continued our lives as a happily, albeit fake, engaged couple. I tried to take care of her and make her laugh as much as I could. But then Julia started to act weird, like she was avoiding me. She didn't talk to me much anymore and often came home late. Oh my God, wait, was she dating again? I swear if anyone dared to flirt with my Julia, I wouldn't leave him alone. So I booked the day off work to spy on her. But that day when I woke up, Julia was nowhere to be found. Only one of her beloved Post-it notes was lying on her pillow. I read it and oh my God. "Sam, I have feelings for you, but I know you don't feel the same, so I guess I shouldn't be around you anymore. The pain is too much. Julia, X." I couldn't believe it. I pressed that note to my chest. My sweet Julia, she had feelings for me, but she thought I was gay. Why was this so complicated? I tried calling her, but she didn't answer. Days passed, but there was still no sign of her. Then suddenly I remembered. The wedding. It was today. I was sure she would be there, as she wouldn't give them the satisfaction of being a no-show. I quickly put my Italian suit on. Wow, hey there, handsome chap. When I arrived at the wedding, the groom and bride were sharing their first dance. I looked around and saw Julia sitting alone in the corner and watching them dance. I did my best movie hunk walk over to her, held out my hand and asked her, "Madam, may I please have this dance?" Julia looked surprised and was about to say something, but I dragged her over to the dance floor. "Sam, why are you here?" She asked me, but I didn't reply. Then she pushed me away, broke down in tears and said, "Please, just leave me alone. Can't you see that I've suffered enough?" I said to her, "Julia, why don't you see that you're my bubble tea girl? There's no one else like you." I hugged her tight, and then I did what I'd wanted to do since I started talking to her that day at the lake. I leaned in and kissed her. So, guess what happened next? Did she slap me across the face and call me a liar? Well, yes, after I told her everything. Geez, that girl has a slap on her. But then she hugged me and cried with joy. I couldn't imagine a better ending than this. Yeah, I know I did a crazy thing to win over my girl, and I don't recommend pretending to be gay to get close to someone. But you know what they say, falling in love makes you do dumb things. And boy, does Julia own my giant dumb heart.
Ugh, look at them flirting. What an eyesore. But don't get it wrong. Trust me, this is no happy family. That woman there isn't my mom. She's Rochelle, our housemaid. I repeat, housemaid. But it looks like she has her sights set on becoming my stepmom. Ugh. We only hired her because after my mom passed away, Dad and I struggled to deal with our grief, and our clumsiness as well, so tidying the house didn't take priority. I suppose Rochelle was an okay maid. Can't deny that she's a good cleaner, and her cooking is tasty. However, recently, I've noticed that she always cooks Dad's favorite meals. Also, they laugh and flirt and constantly give each other these gooey-eyed looks. Yuck! Today, she even took out her handkerchief and attentively wiped my dad's sweaty forehead. Who does she think she is? She definitely wanted to hypnotize Dad. If she thought she'd have a slot in this house, she was totally wrong. I needed to do something about this. I had to talk to Dad right away. Dad, Mom didn't pass away that long ago, but it looks like you've already lined up a replacement. Didn't you hurt Mom enough by reconnecting with your ex right before she died?
What do you mean replacement, Brittany? You're being childish and unreasonable.
I don't know, and I don't care. But I want Rochelle to get out of our house immediately. She's for sure trying to get something out of you.
Okay, fine, if you insist.
but make sure you find a new housemate to replace her. Ugh. So it turns out that finding a new mate who's actually good is nearly impossible. Dozens of people came to try out, but none of them were as considerate as Rochelle. Okay, after all, we still needed a maid, so I reluctantly let Rochelle stay until I found someone new. This didn't mean I was going to let my annoyance for her slide. I decided that while I was stuck in the same house as her, I may as well play some tricks on her to let out my anger. When she decided to cook, again, the divine chicken soup that my dad loved so much, I kindly added a little salt to make it more savory. But somehow, my dad still praised her delicious food. He must just be flattering her, right? So I tried it myself. What? How could she do that? It tasted amazing. Ugh. Another time, I copied this trick I saw on TikTok by sticking layers of food wrap on Rochelle's door, then acting like there was an emergency. Quick! The oven is making weird noises. I think something's burning. Rochelle quickly ran out of the room and I couldn't help but laugh my head off. Her face was really funny. She then gave me this bewildered look and smiled helplessly. Ugh. Why did this woman never get mad? Okay then, let's spin up a notch. I decided to play the ultimate trick. Knowing that Rochelle was scared to death of cockroaches, I cut a cockroach shape out of paper and put it behind the fabric of her nightlight. That night, I was dozing off when I heard a screechy scream. Ah! Coming from Rochelle's room. Aha! Success! But she was so terrified that she fainted. Oops! Do you know what the most annoying thing is? Even after all the trouble I've caused her, Rochelle was still super sweet to me. She was always offering me cookies and asking me about my day and stuff. I felt like she was trying to play the role of a mother, and I didn't like that at all. She couldn't fool me. I knew she only put up with me to please my dad. Thanks to Rochelle, I could never be at ease, even in my own home. But recently, a very special person has come into my life and lit up my mood. It was totally by chance. That day, it had rained like crazy, so there were puddles everywhere. I was on my way home from the grocery store when a car drove whizzing by. I thought I was going to get a free bath, but then suddenly, an arm pulled me back and shielded me with his body. Just like in a romantic movie, standing there was a boy, soaking wet, asking if I was okay. Aww, he had totally swept me off my feet. We walked together for a while, and he told me his name's Chris, and he lives in the next neighborhood. That's it! I needed to find a way to impress Chris and also thank him for helping me. So, after some careful thinking, I decided to make him a cake. I'd seen Rochelle bake before. It looked easy peasy. So I baked one and gave some to my best friend Sue to try. But she spat it out and said, "Ew, gross." I sadly sat in the kitchen, staring at my pathetic cake, and wondered where I'd done wrong. That's when Rochelle stepped into the room. But to my surprise, instead of laughing at me, she patted me on the shoulder. "Come here, I'll teach you how to cook." Rochelle was a good cook, so I'd be stupid not to learn from her. This doesn't mean I like her, though. I just want to win my crush's heart. So after that, each day after school, Rochelle gave me a cooking lesson. Okay, so maybe she wasn't as bad as I first thought. We tried out different recipes together and came up with our own perfect formula. And finally, I could bake a lovely heart-shaped chocolate cake by myself to confess my love to Chris. And you know what? He said yes. I was so deeply in love with Chris that I totally forgot about my conflict with Rochelle. Chris often came over to my place. My dad and Rochelle loved him. So now, besides my dad's favorite food, Rochelle also makes Chris's favorites too. She's incredible. She'd remember everything Chris loves and hates, even the trivia, like he's allergic to peanuts. We were just like a family, and I have to admit, it felt kinda good. And then, out of literally nowhere, the shock of my life happened. My dad passed away from cancer. I didn't even know he was ill. As you might guess, I totally broke down and didn't want to do anything after that. My mom and dad had both left me, just within a single year. But at least I still had Rochelle and Chris beside me. Rochelle took care of me like I was her actual daughter. I was going through such a tough time in life, but having them around made me feel like I wasn't completely alone. The grief had to fade away eventually, and it's gonna be okay from now on, I thought. Until one day, I was baking cupcakes when my dad's lawyer appeared and showed me the will. Turns out, my dad had left the house to me, but only on the condition that I had a guardian. Some woman named Laura. Huh? That's odd. I don't know anyone named Laura, but wait, I think I've heard this name from someone. Oh, my mom. When she was in her last days, Mom once told me that my dad had been talking to his ex again, and her name was Laura. Could it be her? Did he seriously make his ex my guardian? Unbelievable! I had to get to the bottom of this. But how could I find this mystery Laura? I had no family. Well, besides my Uncle Colin, who was living in France. So I contacted him and told him everything. He flew back at once, and although I hadn't seen him in years, I couldn't hold back my emotions. I ended up sobbing on his shoulder. And then he told me the horrible truth. Laura is none other than the woman who had just walked through the door. It was Rochelle, the woman who had been living in my house. I couldn't believe my ears. What on earth is going on? So Rochelle moving in was no coincidence? My dad sneakily snuck her in as a maid so we could be together? My pain and disappointment were overwhelming, but I had to calm down so I could think rationally. I knew I needed to be smart and outplay Rochelle at her own game. Since then, I started watching Rochelle and noticed something strange. Rochelle and Chris were a bit too close and intimate. I often saw them whispering to each other when they thought I wasn't looking. What did this mean? Could it be that Rochelle was trying to coax my boyfriend into one of her dark schemes? Or, worse still, was the guy I loved cheating on me with an older woman? My suspicions deepened. When a few days later, Chris told me he was sick, so I had to take the school bus for a couple of days. And Rochelle also asked me for a few days off. Could it just be coincidence? I didn't think so. So I decided to be a detective for once. Right after Rochelle left, I started following her. And with no surprise, she went to my boyfriend's house. Hi, Mom. Excuse me? Mom? She's hid, Mom? So that means she not only flirted with my father, but also planted her son to distract me to take over my family's property? I trusted them. How could they be so cruel? Suddenly, I remembered a detail that I didn't notice until now. After eating the food she'd cooked, for some reason, my father became weaker and weaker and eventually passed away. Did she poison him? If that's the case, then she really is a poisonous snake in human disguise. I immediately broke up with Chris and fired Rochelle, then went home and told Uncle Colin everything. At least I had him on my side.
Now what we need to do is refute her custody of the property. I'll take care of everything. You just have to do what I say.
Then, Uncle Colin helped me prepare a lawsuit against Rochelle and her son for fraud. Those two will pay price for what they did to my father and me. Oh, but the thing is, now Rochelle didn't live here. It felt so empty. I was so angry with her, but I also found myself missing her too. I loved and trusted her. And Chris too. And feelings like that don't just vanish overnight. But when I was still thinking about it, there was the lawyer. Again! And he was accompanied by Uncle Colin. What's happening now?
Miss Brittany Jensen hereby transfers the entire estate of 25 Oakwell House to Mr. Colin Jensen, as signed by both parties.
Huh? Signed? When did I sign that? I snatched the paper and shouted, Scam! I never saw this paper! Uncle, what is this? Please say something.
I don't know. Just follow the legal documents.
No. So Uncle Colin was just pretending to care, when really he just wanted to trick me into signing over my house? Oh God. Thinking about it, it must have been that day. The day where he gave me a bunch of papers to sign, claiming that they were about me suing Rochelle and Chris. OMG, the lying con. At the time, I'd been so upset that I only skimmed the first page without looking at following ones. I was too careless.
From tomorrow, Miss Brittany Jensen will have to return all assets to Mr. Colin Jensen. You have 24 hours to prepare. I tried shouting at my uncle, and then I tried reasoning with him, but he didn't care. He just smirked at me and told me that he was just taking what was rightfully his. Ugh, what a vile man. So now I have nothing left. I was kicked out of my own house and deceived by my own uncle. I don't know why I accidentally passed Chris's house just as he opened the door to take a delivery, and our eyes met. I turned and started to run away, but Chris caught up with me and grabbed my hand. Even after the awful way I treated them both, Rochelle and Chris still invited me inside and made me dinner. I ashamedly told them what happened. Then Rochelle told me everything. It turns out that my father found out that he had cancer a while ago, but he didn't tell me because he saw how upset I was after losing Mom, and was afraid I would worry too much. Rochelle saw his health deteriorating and figured out what was wrong, so she volunteered to take care of him because she still cared for him. But as a friend, nothing more. As for the will, my dad understood Uncle Colin all too well and didn't trust him, so he gave custody to Rochelle, but unexpectedly, in the end, I still stupidly fell into his trap. As for Chris, I really didn't know you two knew each other until you brought him home. But at that time, I didn't want to confess I was his mother and affect your relationship. I'm sorry, Brittany. Britt, please stay here with me and Mom. We'll get through this tough time together, okay? That's right, darling. No matter what, we'll never abandon you.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood you both.
It's okay. Everything will be fine from now on. You'll never have to do this alone.
Yeah, every dog has its day. This is totally not wrong. My life is nothing like my previous wealthy one, but I have something that my conniving, vulturous uncle doesn't have, and that's people who love and care about me. What my uncle did was wrong, and Rochelle and Chris are helping to make a legal case against him. As for now, well, I still haven't given up on my passion for cooking. I still practice with my master every day. And you know what? I just won first prize at the city cooking competition. Right, I better go, as I have a big treat planned for Rochelle and Chris.
Hi guys, I'm Alex. I'm a 24-year-old guy who's married to my high school sweetheart Ariel. Even though we haven't had kids yet, Ariel stays at home and I go to work. Sounds blissful, right? Wrong. You see, my once cute and loving wife is now a total grumpy control freak. Don't get me wrong, I still love her very much, but, well, who am I kidding? I'm just the henpecked husband who never dares to oppose her. No longer am I a free man. Instead, she insists that I follow her rules, and I swear she makes most of them up as she goes along. No going out with friends. No overnight trips away even if they're work-related. Dinner is not allowed outside unless I take her with me. No talking to work colleagues on social media. I'm not even allowed to fall asleep first, else she wakes me up by yelling at me. If I dare to break those rules, then I have to face the consequences, and trust me, they weren't worth thinking about. For instance, I once ate a little late at work, so the next day she made me moldy sandwiches. I didn't notice until I'd taken a big bite out of it. Ugh, gross. Another time I visited my parents after work without her, so she turned my white shirts pink. I had to go to work resembling the Pink Panther. And every day I'd come home from work to her endless complaints. She could moan on about the most ridiculous things, such as the puddle outside of our house meant she couldn't go for a walk, as she didn't want to ruin her shoes. And she'd accidentally drunk normal coffee instead of decaf, and now she had a headache. And it went on and on. Also, she's a real stalker. Yep, it seems all she does all day is spy on our neighbors. Did you know that the neighbor to the right of us walks around his yard in his wife's pink fluffy dressing gown and slippers? And the neighbor opposite sings Christmas tunes to her dog. Ugh, who cares? But if I dare yawn or show any sort of disinterest, she yells at me. So I feigned interest by saying things like, "Oh, is that so? Oh, right, please go on." The nagging didn't stop when I was at work either. And she constantly texted me telling me to come home early to fix the light bulb, boss it, or whatever else she'd managed to break. Jeez, why were there so many broken things lately? Why was she deliberately ruining them so that I would rush home after work to fix them? No, that couldn't be possible, right? One time during work, she messaged me saying the washing machine was leaking everywhere and asked me to call a mechanic. I didn't understand why she couldn't call one herself as I was at work. Anyway, I forgot to do it, so she called my work number and demanded I go home immediately. The problem was that my work colleague answered the phone. Poor lad actually had to hold the phone away from him. She was shrieking so loudly. You broke it, so come home and fix it immediately. I grabbed the phone on my colleague and replied, Huh? How is it my fault? She replied, Duh, because you wear 3 outfits in a day and I only wear 1, so you broke it, not me, so come fix it. Yeah. I failed to see logic in her argument. I just didn't know who she was anymore. Where had the lovely Ariel from the old days gone? Oh, how I longed to be single again. Then when I thought things couldn't get any worse, they did. My workplace was celebrating its 10th anniversary, so my boss held a party and invited everyone and their families. Oh no. The last thing I needed was my controlling wife embarrassing me. But Ariel checked my emails and found out about the party. She immediately repeated her rule. Dinner is not allowed outside unless you take me with you. I forced a smile and acted excited to have her joining me. Hope nothing happens, though. We'd been at the party all of 5 minutes, and I was politely smiling at my female colleague, when Ariel turned red with anger, then spilled her wine over this woman's dress, said, Oops, then walked off. I passed my colleague some napkins and apologized. Why was Ariel so childish? I didn't want to lose my job because of her jealous rages. Then I found her talking to my boss. She was actually shouting at him for making me work overtime too often. What? My boss was fuming. Now I was sure I would end up being fired. But thank God, through some miracle and a lot of groveling to my boss, I didn't lose my job. I was feeling so down about it all. So on one of my lunch breaks, I called my friend Matthew. I've known him for years. In fact, back in our school days, he had a huge crush on Ariel. And we both tried to win her heart. Anyway, that's in the past. I needed to vent, so I said to him, Back at school, you and I both frantically chased Ariel. We even fought for her. Back then I thought I'd won, but now I think you're the one who had the lucky escape. Matthew replied, Do you know why your married life is so stuffy? It's because she loves you too much. If you need more freedom, it's so easy. You just need to make your wife love you less. Don't worry, I'm here to help. At this point, I was pretty much willing to try anything. Besides, he was my friend, so he had my back, right? So the plan was to find Ariel a demanding job in another town. Then I'd only have to see her on weekends. So I asked my old friend to let Ariel work as a newscaster on his about-to-be bankrupt radio station. Ariel was so excited when she got the job offer. She begged me to quit my job and to go with her, but I disagreed. I made excuses that my job was too good to quit and encouraged her that it was a good opportunity for her and that I would visit her on weekends. After that, the life I always longed for arrived. It was so blissful coming home from work and not having her nag me. I could put my feet on the couch, fall asleep whenever I wanted, and go out for dinner with my colleagues without having to take her along with me. But the house was quiet. Too quiet. Yes, it wasn't long before I found myself pining for her like a puppy. I even slept clutching one of her sweaters. Then it suddenly all made sense. Ariel had only acted that way because she was bored and lonely, stuck at home all day. She longed to have me to talk to, and yet all I did was make fun of her. Ugh, I was a terrible husband. I'd been a foolish idiot, and I wanted my wife back, so without delay, I bought the biggest bunch of flowers I could find and drove to Ariel's place in the other city. But when I pulled up outside, I saw her standing outside talking to someone. It was Matthew, that sneaky, conniving snake. Then I saw him take her hand. I stormed up to him and punched him in the face. Ariel panicked. Alex, are you crazy? What the hell are you doing? Then she checked Matthew's bleeding nose. I was furious, so I blurted out, He's a liar. He told me to send you away just so he could worm his way into your life. She looked at me in surprise and stammered. What? You sent me away? I earned this job and I chose this life. No, I shook my head. I set it all up. I'm sorry, I'm a fool. I was about to hug Ariel, but she pushed me away and said, Are you bored with me? Why don't you... You're a coward. After that, Ariel ran into her house and locked the door. I begged her to hear me out, but she ignored me. I had no choice to drive home sad and alone. I went back to her house each day and tried to apologize, but she never answered the door. Each day I left her a gift on her doorstep, such as chocolate cake, penguin plushie as they're her favorite animal, and a picture of us together. She took gifts, but she still wouldn't answer the door. But then one night when I was waiting in front of her house, I saw her running towards me. Could it be that she'd forgive me and was coming to embrace me? No. A bandit was chasing after her and was trying to grab her handbag. I rushed forward and tackled this bandit to the ground. She was so relieved I was there to save the day, and she flung her arms around me. After that, she forgave me and moved back home. I definitely learned my lesson now. I should always appreciate the happiness I have, instead of taking it for granted. But I guess I will still have to live on the edge for the rest of my life. Afraid that someday Ariel will find out the big secret I'm keeping. Yeah, I'm the one who hired that bandit. Surprise! Those secrets will have to come to me to the grave. Or Ariel will bury me 6 feet under by herself. I don't know anymore. Wish you luck, guys.
Five, 6, 7, 8. Wow, honey, you're so good. Oh no, now I lost count. How long had she been standing there for? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. Can you teach me some moves? I hesitated, but I didn't want to sound mean, so, sure, Carol, come in. I'll show you some of the basics. I did some simple moves for her to follow, but, oh man, she was awful. Seeing an out-of-shape, middle-aged woman attempting front lunges and high V's isn't something you see every day. But I did appreciate that she was putting the effort into getting to know me. Oh, sorry. You must be wondering why I was calling my mom by her first name. Well, she's actually not my mom. She's my stepmom. You see, my mom passed away when I was 10. Then last year, when I turned 15, Dad started seeing someone again with the help of a matchmaker, and he thought it was important for me to have a mother figure, and that's how he ended up marrying Carol. I enjoyed having bonding time with Carol, but it quickly became kinda uncomfortable. She watched me practice my cheerleading moves every night, started up conversations about the boys at my school, and she insisted on binge-watching TV series with me. Yeah, you almost know how awkward it is having an adult sitting next to you while there's some romantic kissing scene on the screen, right? Jesus, I needed my privacy. Then one time, I arrived home from school to find her in my room, going through my makeup. Donna, sweetie, how exactly do you use this? Okay, so this was a bit too much. She's crossing some lines here, messing around with my stuff without asking, but I couldn't bring myself to get mad at her either. You see, Carol is the definition of an ideal housewife. She's such a kind-hearted woman, and she always kept the house immaculate and cooked delicious meals. Maybe she spent so much time doing this that she didn't have any time to take care of her appearance? Hey, everyone deserves to feel beautiful, right? So I showed her how to apply makeup. Carol, you do so much for Dad and me, so I think it's about time you treated yourself. How about we go to the mall tomorrow? I would love to. I thought I was doing something nice for her. Little did I know, this was the start of something crazy. The next day at the mall, I took her into a clothing store where women her age shopped. I held up a nice blouse, but she shook her head. Then, to my utter dismay, she insisted we go into the Pull&Bear store next door. But Carol, that's for teenagers! But she still marched us in there. Then she pointed at an outfit and asked me if I could try it on for her. I wanted today to be about her, not me. But, okay, as long as she's happy. I stepped out of the dressing room, twirled, and the store staff immediately complimented me. Then, Carol suddenly turned to the staff and asked them to get the exact dress in size XL. What? Was she going to wear that too? Carol coyly stepped out from behind the curtain and asked, "So, what do you think?" I froze for a moment. I mean, look at her. She looked ridiculous, but I couldn't tell her that, so I reluctantly gave her a thumbs up. And just like that, Carol bought us both the exact same dress. But there's more. She suggested that we both wear them right now, while we're still in the mall. I spluttered out, shouldn't we save them for a special occasion? But her mind was made up. So, there we were, daughter and stepmom walking through the mall in matching dresses. I could feel all eyes were on us. We even ran into one of my friends, and she mistook Carol for my cousin. At least, that was until she saw Carol's face. That poor girl looked like she'd just seen Annabelle. Carol sure was flattered, as on the way home she beamed as she said, "To think, your friend thought I was your cousin. I should dress like you more often. It takes years off me." And I kid you not, she actually meant it. From that moment onward, she started dressing like a teenage girl. Or, to be precise, like me. Exactly like me. Apparently, I was the only one finding it weird in the house, because my dad said nothing. I needed to talk to her, or someone at school would see me and make fun of me. So that evening, I went downstairs to see Carol sitting on the couch reading some magazine. I took a deep breath and said, Carol, can we... Oh, hi, sweetie. Look, I'm choosing a cake for your upcoming birthday party. I hope that's okay. Oh no, why is she always so sweet and kind? This made me feel so bad. She's doing so much for me, and all I do is complain. So obviously, I didn't bring up the subject of her copying my style. That's just trivial, right? Instead, I sat next to her and we talked about the birthday party. Then she showed me some pretty dresses on her phone and asked me to pick one for my party. I really like this one. Carol smiled. Oh, that looks lovely. Great choice, sweetie. Imagine how stunning we'll look in these. We? Oh no, not again. It had to be now or never to talk to her about this. Carol, I don't think we... But at that exact moment, my dad arrived back from work. What are you two still doing up so late? Before I could say anything, Carol ran over to him. Donna and I are going to wear this dress on her birthday. What do you think? Great. Anything that makes my ladies happy. I couldn't go through the humiliation of being dress buddies with Carol for one more time. On my special day, I needed to do something. I had a plan, but the timing had to be faultless. So, on the day of my party, when Carol was ironing her dress, I rushed in and told her the delivery guy had just dropped off the wrong cake. Carol freaked out and ran downstairs immediately. It worked! Now, let's get started. And, well, 10 minutes later, as expected, we all heard a loud scream coming from upstairs. Dad and I rushed in and saw Carol sitting on the bed crying into the dress. Darling's wrong. She held up the dress. Look, it's ruined. There was an iron-shaped burn mark on it. Yep, you guessed it. It was all me. When Carol left the room, I turned the iron's temperature to max. My God, I really had to pinch myself trying not to laugh. But suddenly, Carol turned to me and in a serious voice said, "You need to change to another dress." What? She can't be serious, right? It's okay, Carol. You can just wear another dress. I don't mind. No, it's not okay. We've planned this. Go get the blue one that we both have. Listen, I don't think we should dress the same. It's just weird. Then my dad jumped in. There's no time to argue. The guests are already waiting downstairs. So Donna, go get changed. Ugh, unbelievable. It was so embarrassing. All my relatives were complimenting us, but I knew they were really laughing inside. My friends, on the other hand, were sniggering and telling me we looked like a budget version of the Olsen twins. I thought that day was already a nightmare, but then it got extremely annoying when she even started to copy my behavior. One evening, my boyfriend Thomas came over and we're all eating pizza in the living room. I took a bite and said, "OMG, delish!" And the next thing I knew, Carol was quoting those words of mine as she sipped on her Diet Coke. Cringy! Then later, when Thomas had to leave, I walked him to the door and I squeezed his cheeks as a cute little goodbye, since we couldn't exactly kiss or anything in front of my parents, obviously. But guess what? Just under 5 minutes later, Carol suddenly sat closer to my dad and did the exact same thing to him. It was so weird, and my dad wasn't really impressed either. But here comes the worst part. A few days later, my friend had sent me a link to Carol's TikTok account. Oh my days. It was a video of my dad, and it had thousands of likes. And suddenly, I heard noises coming from downstairs. Carol? Carol! Carol scampered out of the kitchen looking clueless. What's wrong, honey? What's wrong? My colleague just sent me a video of you playing a prank on me. Everybody has seen it. Even my boss, my customers, everyone. How am I supposed to go to work now? Ruining my career. Is that what you want? So much for being an accent. Yep. The video I was talking about was this one, where Carol baked a fruitcake for my dad and then smashed his face into it. Then, when he looked up, he had 2 strawberry slices stuck to his eyes. He kind of looked like that creepy clown from the movie It. She uploaded it on her TikTok account, and it instantly got viral. I played that prank on my friend a while ago at our slumber party, but I didn't expect that Carol would copy it. Get out of my house! My dad's shout took me aback, while Carol burst into tears and begged, "Please, honey, don't do this. I'm sorry." But my dad didn't listen and just told her to pack and stay out of his sight immediately. As she started to move, I grabbed her arm. "Carol, wait. I know that you've been copying my clothing style and my behavior, and now this TikTok. But you must have a reason for that, right? Carol nodded, so I calmed Dad down, and we sat down with her as she sobbed out. My first husband often made fun of my dreary appearance. He even banned me from going to his family events, as he said the way I looked was embarrassing for him. Then eventually, he couldn't stand looking at me anymore, so he handed me the divorce papers. Now I'm with your father. I worry he too will get irritated by my looks, and I'll be abandoned again. But he adores you. Therefore I thought that if I tried to be more like you, then he'd adore me too. My God, Carol's ex is such a jerk. How could anybody want to get a divorce just because their partner didn't have the best dressing sense? I hugged her tightly and said, nobody's going to abandon you. You're a part of this family. But how about we find you a new style of our own, instead of copying mine, okay? Carol nodded at me with a light smile while still sniffling. My dad eventually calmed down, apologized for overreacting, and came over to join us in the hug. So, after that, I started helping Carol with the house chores so she had more time to spend on herself. I showed her how to style her hair, helped her pick out some stylish clothes, and sent her the links to some videos on makeup tips. Now she has her own chic image going on. She kind of reminds me of Martha Stewart. I always thought my stepmom was bonkers, but turned out everyone's got their own story, right? And we should get to know them first before jumping into any conclusion. Everybody should feel good about themselves, and no one should ever make them feel otherwise.
Oh, no. I'd just covered my childhood friend Kevin in coffee, but I'm currently Liana, so he didn't recognize me, as he only knew me as Kai. Confused? Then you should check out parts 1 and 2 first. I frantically apologized to Kevin while looking around for some napkins to soak the coffee up.
It's fine.
He smiled. I smiled back at him. Yep. He was the same kind, sweet Kevin. Suddenly I heard Diamond's voice. Liana! What have you done? Then she appeared next to Kevin and gently touched his arm. I apologize. She's new.
It's okay. It was my fault anyway. I wasn't looking where I was going.
That's just typical of you, always taking the blame. She gave him this starry-eyed look. Oh, so you two already know each other? I thought out loud. Yes, Kevin and I went to college together in Oz. I introduced him to Father for this project, as I believe he'll be an asset to it. Now run along and make some fresh coffees. Diamond gave me a stare. As I went off to make coffees, again, I wondered about Diamond. Did she like Kevin? Oh, no. That manipulative girl doesn't deserve such a sweet guy like him. Later that day, we had a meeting where my dad introduced Kevin as the leader of the project. Kevin then thanked him and started talking about his visions for this project. And it was so obvious how all the girls in the room couldn't take their eyes off him, including Diamond. Ugh. The next day after work, I followed Kevin out to the parking lot and shouted his name. When he turned and saw me, he smiled, and I instantly felt warm inside. I have something for you. As, an apology for ruining your last one. I passed him a new shirt. I hope I guessed your size right.
Thanks, you really didn't have to do this.
He looked flattered as he took it from me.
Yep, you have the size spot on. Impressive.
His comment caused me to smile to myself. Living as a boy for years at least gave me a perk of understanding their sizes. I waved him goodbye and started to walk off, but he shouted,
Wait, is there any chance I could have your number?
You bet. I was blushing so hard by then. And after that, we started messaging each other, and every time my phone buzzed with his name, I found myself doing this gummy smile. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay in my love bubble with Kevin forever. Instead, I had to spend my days being bossed around by Diamond. Ugh. Once, she was ordering me to revise a report I'd already redone twice. Suddenly, Kevin walked over, picked up the report, and said,
Oh, this one. You've done a good job with it, Liana. No need to change anything.
Diamond looked furious at being undermined, and I couldn't hide my smug look. Take that, little Miss Bossy. After she left, I thanked him for helping me out.
It's fine. Hey, don't take much notice of Diamond. She's just intent on impressing her father. If she causes you any more problems, just come find me, okay?
Oh, what a sweet guy he was. But one afternoon, I walked into the office kitchen to make myself a drink and saw Diamond and Kevin having a serious chat. On seeing me, Diamond said to him, I'm sorry, Kevin. You needed to know the truth. Then she gave me a snooty look as she passed me. I wonder what that was about. I was going to ask him, but before I could, he just left without so much as a glance in my direction. Okay, that was weird, but maybe he was just busy, right? That evening, I messaged Kevin and asked him if he wanted to go for a jog in the park. He agreed, but when he showed up, he could barely meet my eye. Kevin, what's wrong? He was silent for a moment, then shouted, Why? Why did you lie to me? Diamond told me how you're engaged to Kai. Why did you lead me on? I sputtered out, but he just tutted, then walked off. I stood there speechless and wondering how I was going to get out of this mess. If this wasn't bad enough, as I was on my way home, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Diamond. Leave the house and the company by tomorrow, else I'm telling Kai the truth. Ugh, of course, I just ghosted her dumb message, and true to her word, the next day, my Kai phone went off. It was Diamond telling me how Liana was cheating on me. It was crystal clear she wasn't going to drop this. Some days later, my father asked me to go to dinner with him, so he could get to know me better before I married his son. I thought this was sweet of him, so I agreed. Besides, this was a great opportunity to test the water, figuring out if he's ready for the truth yet. We had some small talk over the appetizer. Then suddenly, Dad put down his fork and asked me, How is Kai? It's such a shame to admit, but we've grown distant over the years, and it was all my fault. I know I haven't always been the best father. He trailed off. Kai's good, I replied. I guess it was now or never to say what I wanted to. Actually, he's really happy in Canada. And, well, he has these big dreams of becoming an architect. Oh, I didn't know that. He lowered his head. I just thought he'd want to inherit the company one day. His heart isn't in it. He's so afraid of telling you as he doesn't want to disappoint you. He was silent, and I worried he was going to yell at me, only he didn't. Instead, gave a thoughtful sigh, then replied, Very well. I respect Kai's decision, and I will support him on whichever path he chooses. This was totally unexpected from him. I was so overwhelmed, I left my seat to hug him, and I told him I'd pass the words to Kai. Now I finally knew how much Dad loved Kai, which means he loved me too, right? I just needed to find a good time to tell him the truth. The next day, on my way home from work, I received a frantic phone call from Mom. Turns out, Diamond had told everyone in the family that I'd cheated on Kai. As I was trying to figure out what to do next, Dad messaged my Liana phone and demanded I come home at once. On the way home, I thought about what I was going to say to him. Geez, this was terrifying. If it went wrong, Mom and I could end up disowned. I knocked on his study, and in a serious tone, he said, Come in. Then on seeing me, he continued, Liana, Diamond seems adamant you are liaising with Kevin behind my son's back. Please explain yourself. I took a deep breath, then blurted out, The thing is, I'm not cheating on Kai because, well, I am Kai. Then in Kai's voice, I continued, while slowly took off my wig. I was never actually a boy. Instead, I'm a girl, but Mom didn't want me losing out to Diamond, so she made me pretend to be a boy. He was so shocked. He leaned back in his chair and almost tumbled backward. I explained to him why Mom and I did what we did. It was such a relief, finally having that weight off my shoulders. I knew Dad needed some time to digest this avalanche of information, so I put my wig back on and went to find Mom. She was pacing her bedroom in anxiety. I've told you to be extra careful around Diamond. Now how are we possibly meant to carry out this plan? Don't worry, Mom. I had found a way to resolve this mess. I comforted her, but didn't let her know that I'd told Dad the truth yet, as that would just make her even more anxious. The next few days, Dad still acted normal, as if nothing had happened, and when I walked into the dining room for dinner, I saw Diamond's face drop. She clearly thought Dad would have chucked me out by now. She slammed her fist on the table and yelled at Dad, Why is she still here? Ignoring her, he asked Grandpa to pass him the gravy. This only angered Diamond further, and she pointed at me and screamed, She cheated on Kai! Kick her out of this house! I put down my cutlery, calmly stood up, and in a confident voice I said, In fact, I am Kai. It was worth doing just for everyone's reaction. My mom turned white. Diamond was dumbfounded while my grandparents clung onto the table in shock. After I'd explained it all to them in more detail, Diamond was the first to respond. So you and your mother lied to everyone? This is unacceptable. Get out of this house. Poor Mom looked so ashamed. She couldn't meet Dad's eye as she mumbled out, Don't blame Liana. She was just a child. It's my fault. Then she pulled my arm and whispered to me that we should leave. Diamond sneered. Those liars. You deserve that.
Will you please be quiet? Else I advise you to just leave.
Dad gave Diamond a stern look. This shocked her, and she sat back down in silence.
I've made a lot of mistakes over the years, and because of them I have many regrets. I was selfish and unkind.
He looked at Mom.
It pains me to know that you felt as though I left you with no choice but to lie to me. I love you, but I know how I treated you was cruel. I was so desperate for a child that I sought comfort in someone else. I know I wasn't there for you and Kai, Liana, when you needed me. Now, if you'll let me, I want to make amends.
Diamond jumped up to her feet so fast that the whole table wobbled. She screamed out, "This is nonsense!" and stormed off. So, that sure was eventful. But finally, everyone knew the truth, which meant Mom and I didn't have to lie anymore. And best of all, I never had to pretend to be Kai ever again. The following week, I was roaming around the house when I saw Diamond in her room, packing. I stepped in, and she said, "I'll be out of your sight in a blink. Don't worry. I'm leaving for Miami." I knelt next to her. "I don't want you to go. After all, we're sisters." She gave me this wide-eyed look. But I was horrible to you. You must have been through so much being forced to live as a boy. Yeah, it was hard at times, but it's okay. I can be me now. I smiled. I know I was mean. I'm sorry. I guess I've always felt like an outsider. I know my mom wants me to claim what's rightfully mine, and I felt so pressured because I'm no match for Kai. Don't worry about it. We've all done things we regret. Besides, Kai's gone, so you can just be you. You're a great businesswoman, although you might need to tone down a notch on the bossiness. I chuckled. Come on, sis. Let's get you unpacked. When we'd finished, I hugged her and said, "Oh, as for Kevin, I think we should fairly compete for his heart." She blushed. "Oh, no, it's fine. I used to like him, but he just sees me as a friend. Besides, everyone in the company knows it's you he likes." I felt good that we'd sorted things out. Now I just need to fix things with Kevin, and I had the perfect idea. I messaged him telling me to meet me by the woods, close to his old school. Then I went and waited by the tree we once built a den in. He walked over to me, a confused look on his face. "Liana, how did you know about this spot?" He sat down next to me and I said, "I used to come here with my best friend when I was a kid. He was such a sweet boy. He never judged me or questioned me. It always pained me that I didn't get to say goodbye to him." I could see Kevin's mind ticking away. That's when I took off my wig, wiped away my makeup, and passed him half of a candy bar and said, "It's been a long time coming, but I owe you this." He stared at me, open mouth. So, you're Kai and Liana?" I said, "Yeah, it's me. I'm both." "That's why I always felt familiar towards you. This is unbelievable," he continued. "Wow." He stared at me through teary eyes. "Just wow. I mean, this is crazy. I was so upset when you left, and now here you are." When he got over the initial shock, I told him about my life and why I pretended to be a boy. Afterward, he hugged me tightly and said, "I'm not losing you again, Liana. I love you."
Hi, I'm Kaylee from Washington. I might dress like a boy, but I'm actually the girliest girl you could ever meet. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. I was born with shiny blonde hair and blue eyes, just like my mom. I never met my dad, but it wasn't really a big deal. There's no need to live in some fancy castle to feel like a princess. I was already one in my mom's eyes. She always pampered me with the cutest things in the world. You could give Rapunzel a run for her money, sweetheart. But tragically, Mom left me in an accident when I was 10, and I had to move in with Selena, my mom's friend. She lived in a mansion where there was so many people dressed just like her. As soon as they saw me, they started to ooh and ah at me. What a porcelain doll. Bet she'll win any beauty pageants. She's just too lovely to be real. Shh, Miss Sanchez here doesn't like anyone who's prettier than her daughter. Yeah, she's been in a foul mood ever since the master left for his mistress. I only caught a bit of what they said before Selena dragged me into a corner. Sweetie, you heard them. Boys are bad news. Just look at your dad, for example. So stay away from them. Got it? and the only way to repel them is if you look more like them. Then she told me to wear contact lenses to hide my blue eyes, cut my long locks, threw away my dress collection, and bought me clothes that basically drowned me. And voila, I looked just like a teenage boy. One day, I was alone in the kitchen when I heard someone shouting, "Bring me 2 smoothies now!" I brought in 2 avocado shakes, but accidentally splashed one all over this girl's face, turning her into Shrek.
Watch what you're doing! My daughter's angel face is destined to be Miss USA! How dare you!
I'm sorry, ma'am. Relax, Mom. Avocado face masks are all the rage anyway. Sadly, I still had to take my punishment, but suddenly the girl walked towards me. Hey, I'm Beatrix. Let's go and play. But Don't worry, I'm here. My mom won't punish you anymore. Then she took me to her room. Wow, she even has a castle inside? Beatrix then put some wigs and makeup on me. I looked at myself in the mirror, and memories of my mom came rushing back. I quickly pulled out the photo of her that I carried with me all the time. We looked so alike. I was about to take my lenses out when Selena stormed in and dragged me back to my room.
Don't you ever let me catch you here again! And keep your distance from Little Mistress. We're not from the same world as people like that, remember that?
But little did Selena know, Beatrix had just asked her mom to allow me to go to school with her. And ever since then, we've been literally inseparable. I mean, literally. She clung to me from living room to kitchen, from home to school. Honestly, the only time I could have a moment of peace was when I went to the restroom. Phew. Oh, maybe not. And each time we hung out was more than torture. I had to fight against the urge to act girly, hit my own hands whenever they started to reach for those pretty things, and now they ended up swollen. Think I'll glue them in my pockets next time. Then, one day, I arrived at school to the most terrible news ever! Kaylee, one of our female rugby players, got injured, so I put you on the team. What on earth? I don't even know what rugby is! Here's Austin, your rugby coach. If you need anything, he's your guy. You know him? He might be handsome, but something about him screams bad news. People call him Awful Austin. You better watch out. And she wasn't exaggerating at all. On the very first day, he already pushed me to my absolute limits in training, that I almost passed out. In the agility ladder exercises, I got my feet tangled up in the line and fell to the ground. But instead of a hand, all I got was his soulless look. Then one time, I missed the ball, causing it to hit another player.
Hey, is this a joke to you? Do it properly.
Keeping all Celine's words in mind, I zipped my mouth up and ignored him, who was definitely a boy.
Oi, what's the attitude? You're bringing the whole team down. See? Cat got your tongue? Faking dumb doesn't work here. From tomorrow, extra training. No excuses.
Beatrix was right. He was a devil. I was dragging my aching body home after training when I noticed a cute cat and stopped to pet it. The cat ran away, so I followed it and ended up at the back gate of the school, which was totally off limits. I've never been here before. Whoa, look at this beautiful mural. It's so mesmerizing.
What you doing here?
Awful Austin? Anyway, did you paint this? It's amazing.
Of course not. Stop crying.
He was such a terrible liar. But to be honest, I didn't expect some jock like him to be interested in art, let alone actually be good at it.
What are you two doing here? Don't move!
Oh no, the guard has spotted us. Austin immediately grabbed my hands and started running. We hid in a small alley, and he pressed me against the wall with his strong arms. My heart was racing like crazy, and I could feel his too. We were so close that our faces were only inches apart, and the warmth of his breath made me blush even more, so I accidentally let out a squeal. Thankfully, before things could get any more awkward, the guard was gone.
Don't even think of breathing a single word about this.
Weirdly, this time his words didn't hurt at all. Maybe because I knew, beneath his tough jock exterior, he had his own secret, just like me. I like your painting, so no need to hide it. Austin stopped for a bit, then kept walking, but I'm sure I caught a smile. After that day, he started to behave quite differently, more gently. He no longer went berserk at me, but helped me get through the training instead so I could catch up with the other players. I just had my first successful kick. Yay! I turned around to cheer with Austin, but out of nowhere, the ball came hurtling right at me, and he instantly caught it with one hand, while the other held me by the waist. Okay, that was awkward. This week, there'd be a senior prom at school, and Beatrix insisted we go. Of course, I gave her a no, but she was literally a leech, so I had no other choice. Wear this, Kay. It's a matching set. It'll be so lame if I wear this alone, please. Fine, but only 'cause you've given me no choice. Yay, love ya! Eek! Wow, It smelled so good. What if I put it on? But wait, what about Selena? Forget it. It's not like she'll be at the prom. YOLO! I stepped into the ballroom with this gorgeous outfit on, my blue eyes, and the necklace my mom gave me. Everyone jaw dropped as soon as they saw me, and that's when I noticed Austin coming towards me.
Hey, you look different tonight. I mean in a good way. Wanna dance?
Sorry, girls' time. Kaylee, look at the tasty food corner. Told you we had to come here. Oh, Beatrix, my friend here is starving. Can you show him where to grab a bite? Wow, sure, handsome. We have cupcakes, biscuits, and even brownies.
Isn't this called choosing boys over friends?
Good for her, anyway. Then Austin gently led me in the waltz. He looked exactly like a prince from a fairy tale. As we fell in step, letting the rhythm control our movements, I felt my whole body tingle. The sparks were definitely flying. But suddenly, the music changed into trance. We looked into each other's eyes for a second. Then, hand in hand, ran across the crowd until we got outside.
I could never imagine a tomboy could become like this.
Actually, I'm not a tomboy.
What do you mean?
That's when I decided to tell him everything about how I was obsessed with girly things, but had to suppress it all my life. It felt so good to let it all out after burying it the whole time. And Austin was such a good listener.
Wow, Kaylee, I'm so sorry. Actually, I've also had to hide my passion for arts to help my father's business too. So what you said to me the other day really opened up something in me.
So things were not easy for him either, huh? Suddenly, he pulled out a sketchbook and started drawing me.
I wish this moment would last forever.
His face then went all serious, but not in a cold way as usual, but instead beaming with passion. Our eyes met, and I thought my heart was gonna jump out of my chest. And yes, I hoped this moment would last forever too. Then suddenly, he leaned closer to fix my hair. I was ready for a kiss. Then, Kaylee! Selena? How did she find out about this? Man, you know what's coming next. I can't believe you'd be this reckless. You're not my mom, and not every boy is like my dad. You were wrong. Mind your manners. Get changed now. Right then, Mrs. Sanchez came to interrupt us. Hang on, are her eyes blue? And what's this? Don't mind her. I bought this half price at the swap meet, ma'am. Then she signaled for me to flee the scene. If Mom were here, she'd understand the way I feel. Blinking back tears, I suddenly felt a warm hand on my shoulder. Are you alright? I saw you leave with Austin. Did he cut your hair? It looks shorter. I'm okay, Beatrix. Oh wow, I have a similar necklace that my dad gave to me. This was from my dad too, except that I don't actually know who he is. Maybe your dad is my dad? 0 for the joke, Beatrix. Oh, but why did Selena lie about the necklace to Miss Sanchez? So I went to find Selena right after, and she told me the most shocking thing ever. Beatrix's dad, the former master here, was actually my dad. He seduced Mom, who used to be a maid here too. When Mrs. Sanchez found out, both of them were kicked out of the house. Then knowing Mom was having me, he dumped her right away. Selena was afraid Mrs. Sanchez could see Mom in me, and so she had to force me to disguise myself. Wow, this was seriously messed up. Keep your identity a secret by all means or we're doomed. Understand? I was in complete shock, but I knew I had to be more careful from then on. For the whole week after, Mrs. Sanchez seemed to be in a good mood. One day, she even asked me to go shopping with her. But a wedding dress studio? Is there a wedding coming, ma'am? Yes, and it's yours, you filth! You have to pay for your mom's karma for stealing my husband! So, she knew everything? I tried to bolt away, but immediately got caught. Then she took me to this luxurious house, and guess who I met?
Kaylee, what are you doing here?
Austin? What? What do you want? I was still bewildered when a man pushed a boy in a wheelchair into the living room. Hi, Mr. Fisher. About our arrangement. This is the bride here. She and Ivan here will make the perfect couple. Hope you like this gift as my thanks for your favor. My blessings for the marriage and your family.
Dad, what is she talking about? Ivan will get married to this girl. I've already settled everything so that Ivan can have a bright future without worrying about anything.
Excuse me? I've had to put aside my art dream to enroll in business school, as you wished, and now you want to control my brother's life too? I object to this marriage, because I love her! Then he pulled me away, leaving Mr. Fisher frozen in shock.
Kaylee, I'm so sorry you had to meet my dad in such an awful way. I promise to never let anyone treat you like this again.
No worries, I have to thank you instead. Your words really woke up the courage in me. Austin offered to help me talk things out, but it's time for me to fight for my own good. I came back home to see Mrs. Sanchez flying into a rage. How dare you bring your face back into this house? You cruel woman. I will not marry someone else just to pay off your debt. Right at that moment, Selena walked in, and she literally turned into a bull. How dare you do that to my child? I had to stop her from lunging towards Mrs. Sanchez. So how about what you all have done to me? Do you know what I've been through all these years? Her mom stole my husband, and you just expect me to put it aside? Then she collapsed and burst into tears. Suddenly, I felt bad for her. I'm sorry for everything that happened to you, but it doesn't mean you have to punish yourself with it, or grant yourself the right to dictate others like that. She owes you nothing, and you have no right to control others' lives. Right after that, Selena and I packed our stuff and left the house. Walking through that door, we felt more free than ever before. After all that drama, it took us some time to get our lives back on track. From all the money Selena had saved working as a maid, she was able to open her own bakery and take back control of our lives. And so do I. Finally, I'm back to my princess style. But after all those craziest things happened, something never changed. Oh my god, we're half-sisters! Yay! My mom said she felt so guilty about what happened, but asked me to keep it a secret. Oops. And about that guy, you ask? He worked things out with his dad, and guess what? He's in art school now. Okay, now tilt your head to the right. Yeah, like that. Gosh, that dress makes you look like a fairy princess. Who dared to make a princess stay still like a statue for more than 1 hour? Huh? The charming artist?
Shh, it's almost done. I beg your pardon.
Jaden was taken aback for a second, then calmly said, "You're right. Sorry. I'll back off." Being the third wheel all this time hasn't gotten me any info on Mike's dad anyway. He really was laying low, and maybe Mike didn't even know anything about what his father was doing. The FBI might need to find another way to approach this investigation. Little did Jaden know, Jasmine had become an unexpected factor in his investigation plan. After that time, Jasmine and Mike had private dates, just the two of them, but they left Jasmine feeling more and more distant from him. Why does this wig have to be so long? And these freaking shoes! Why do girls want to torture themselves with these things? Jasmine thought about the last time she was with Jaden, how she could just remove the stupid heels and enjoy being carried by him. But of course, that could never happen in front of Mike. Jaden has kept his promise and leaves us two alone, but why do I feel like something is missing? You look really beautiful today. That necklace is divine. Yeah, I got it from my dad's antique cabinet this morning. Guess it once belonged to some ancient Egyptian queen. My dad has a bunch of these. Oh, really? How come? Well, he developed a very deep passion for collecting antiques and has filled our whole house with all kinds of stuff. Interesting. Just then, Mike knew exactly what to do with rich and naive Jasmine while she's still totally oblivious to it. That night, Jasmine struggled to fall asleep. She wondered how Jaden could just disappear into thin air like that. Fine, don't let me see you again. I'll make you watch me eat 10 buckets of fried chicken and then force you to run 10 laps while carrying me. Jasmine didn't realize, however, that behind her inexplicable frustration toward Jaden, she actually missed him. The next day, as soon as Jasmine arrived at school, Mike approached her urgently. Have I mentioned that I'm turning 16 this weekend? No, you haven't. Any special plans for your big day then? Yes, actually. That's why I came to find you. I wanted to make sure you had enough time to put together the most stunning outfit, cause I'd like you to meet my father there. You must make a good impression on him. Wow. I'm gonna need to think about it, okay? After that, Jasmine looked everywhere for Jaden, but couldn't find any trace of him. Jaden, where on earth have you been? That evening, while Jaden was discussing the current situation with his partner, he was surprised to see Jasmine's figure at the door. How did she find her way here? How dare you go AWOL for the past few days? Do you realize how many excuses I needed to give the student supervisor just to get your address? Then Jasmine began to tell Jaden about her latest date with Mike, how she felt that Mike was not the right match for her, and that Mike wanted to introduce her to his father at Mike's birthday party. I think I need to break things off before any family gets involved. However, after the FBI team hit a dead end because they couldn't get any intel, Jaden realized this party was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them to catch the thief. Wait, you can't give up so soon. You were so determined to win Mike over before. Don't just dump him over cold feet. At least wait until after the party to make your decision. Yeah, you're right. I'll go to the party. After that, Jasmine left. She was trying not to feel the sadness building inside her, but the night that she and Jaden nearly kissed played on repeat in her head. Would things be different if I just confessed my feelings to Jaden? I should let him know how I feel about him. So Jasmine headed back to Jaden's place. When she was almost there, she saw him seeing someone off. Huh? There was another person at his house? Why didn't I see him just then? Jasmine quickly hid behind a wall, out of sight.
That party is surely our golden ticket. And we thought you going undercover as Jaden and giving that dude a makeover was all in vain. He's a she, and her name is Jasmine. Oh, did someone catch feelings? Don't forget that you're an FBI agent, James. Jaden, that is.
Jasmine couldn't believe what she just heard and saw. When the man left, she stormed right over to Jaden. When were you going to tell me about your double life, James?
I wish I could tell you everything, but I really can't. But I won't deny what you did here. I'm an FBI agent, and I've been undercover as a high school student to follow Mike. Jasmine, please listen to me. I'll tell you everything when the right time comes.
So I was just a tool that you used to get closer to Mike. And since that didn't work, you're done with me?
No, that's not.
And why Mike? What do you need from him?
I can't tell you anything else right now. But please just be careful around him, okay? He's not as nice as he tries to seem. I'm going to send FBI agents to keep an eye on you at the party.
No, you will not. You won't do anything because you and the FBI are going to leave me alone.
Jasmine, please. As much as it hurt to look at him again,
Jasmine turned back around. My friends call me Gucci, but I guess you wouldn't know. While Jasmine was still mad at Jaden, she couldn't help questioning why the FBI had to send people to follow Mike. Suddenly, she remembered the overheard conversation.
That party was surely our golden ticket, and we thought you going undercover as Jaden and giving that dude a makeover was all in vain.
Maybe I could find the answer at Mike's birthday party.
In the following days, Jaden relentlessly tried in every way to make amends with Jasmine.
He messaged her on every social platform, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, and she blocked him on each one.
He flew paper planes that read, "I'm sorry," into Jasmine's room, but she just stared coldly at him through the window while tearing the planes all up and throwing them in the trash.
One morning, Jasmine woke up and even found a dove delivering Jaden's apology letter, but she completely ignored it still. Mike's birthday party finally came. Why do I feel so unsettled? Maybe it was because of Gary's hamburger this afternoon? Meanwhile, Mike was also lost in his own thoughts.
Will Dad be able to get on with the plan? I wonder what disguise he'll show up in.
Right then, Tiffany approached them. Mike, I have a present for you.
Mike opened the envelope to find pictures of Jasmine from when she was a tomboy.
I just wanted to remind you of the person you're really dating.
I don't care about who she was before, because I love who she is now. My amazing girlfriend.
Jasmine felt partly appreciative of Mike's feelings for her, but she was also exhausted from the pressure of trying to be someone she wasn't. If only you knew that this isn't the real me.
As they walked away, Mike leaned in close and whispered in Jasmine's ear, "Let's go meet my dad, privately."
Jasmine followed Mike to the rooftop, but she saw nobody when they got there. Where is he?
Just be patient. He always shows up on time.
At that moment, a kind-looking old man appeared.
Jasmine looked around in confusion, wondering where he had come from. Before she could introduce herself, he started to speak. "So you must be the lovely Jasmine. Mike has told me so much about you. I heard your father is a famous collector of antiquities."
Yes. You know my dad?
I know he has something that's truly coveted.
Jasmine had no idea what he was talking about.
She turned to Mike and saw him mouthing, "It's you. Come here, girl. I have a gift for you. A diamond ring that's perfect for your delicate hands."
Jasmine hesitated, but somehow she found herself slowly reaching out her hand. Just before her hand could reach his, there was a rustling sound. Rat! Suddenly, there was a loud explosion and smoke filled the air. Jasmine fell to the ground, unconscious. Jaden rushed in and saw Mike's father disappear into the smoke as they fled. His head told him to chase them, but seeing Jasmine lying on the ground, he immediately ran to Jasmine and carried her out of there. Jasmine woke up and saw her dad and 3 brothers anxiously standing around. Through their accounts, she knew that an anonymous message had been sent to her father last night, demanding he hand over a precious necklace in exchange for Jasmine.
The police confirmed that the sender of that threatening message is a career thief.
But I wonder how he knew our family had that necklace. Jasmine recalled wearing that necklace to see Mike and revealing to him that her dad was an antique collector. Could that very thief be...
Remember, he's been doing this for a long time. They call him the Phantom Thief. Surely he has a talent for sniffing out valuable items and evading the police. Unfortunately,
It's the same this time. Actually, that young police officer could have caught him, but he chose to save your sister. Our family owes him big time.
Is that young police officer Jaden? Later, Jaden came to visit Jasmine at the hospital. Can you tell me the truth now? Is the FBI chasing a career criminal who is none other than Mike's dad?
You're right, because he works in mysterious ways. I had to approach him through his son, Mike.
So why didn't you arrest him when you had the chance? Weren't you just waiting for that moment?
Because you were in danger. At that moment, I could only think about getting to you.
All right, I'll give you that one. Can you tell me what you found out? Maybe I can help.
Then Jaden told Jasmine that through spying on Mike, he discovered that Mike was his father's informant. Mike would scour rich girls, then point out the targets to his father who'd steal their valuables. That's why Mike had targeted Tiffany before, but as soon as he learned she was a fake rich girl and Jasmine was the real deal, he switched his focus to Jasmine. I am so sorry I kept the truth from you for so long. I really care about you, and I was trying to keep you from getting hurt, and you did anyway. I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me.
You did save my life after all. I think we can call it square. So, what's our next move then?
I really don't know.
I might have an idea.
Elsewhere, Mike and his dad were scheming. I didn't expect that sissy Jaden to be in the FBI. Don't worry, I know how to deal with him.
The next day, reports of an antique auction flooded the news.
A once-in-a-lifetime exhibition, all from one man's private collection, will be auctioned to the highest bidder. The collection includes antiquities from all over the world, including a necklace said to belong to Cleopatra. Its estimated value is over $100 billion.
The streets were also plastered with billboards and banners about that auction.
In the evening of the auction, all of VIPs of the upper class gathered in the hotel's main lobby to prepare for the big event. In addition, hundreds of security guards and police officers were hired to guard the auction jewelry 24/7. Before the start of the auction, Jasmine's dad gave a welcome speech to all the guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you all to today's event. As you know, I collect antiques as a hobby, so to share some of the joy this collection has brought me, the profits from today's auction will be donated to the orphanage. Sir, is it true that Cleopatra's necklace will also be auctioned today? That's right. However, it's not here. It's currently being kept in a very secure place that even a mosquito couldn't get through, and will be presented during the final round. Aren't you afraid that the phantom thief, master of disguise, will steal it? Well, he can certainly try me. The whole crowd burst into laughter. Without knowing, from a corner, an elegant lady was watching them all with a smirk on her face. At 9 o'clock sharp, while the sounds of the auction echoed through the hotel's halls, someone in a black shirt and wearing a backpack appeared at the door, trying to put a key in the lock. Freeze! Hands over your head! Busted, you thief! I'm not...
In the lobby, chaos reigned after it became known that the phantom thief had approached the treasure. Jasmine was extremely nervous too. Before long, a police officer went onto the stage.
Please don't worry, the thief was apprehended by the police while trying to open the door. The auction will continue as scheduled. Everyone felt relieved, and the room erupted into applause. At that moment, the elegant yet mysterious lady walked toward the elevator quietly, heading to the penthouse. She then swiftly snuck into the room and retrieved the necklace with ease. Those stupid cops must be bringing that fool down to the station right now. She then put the box into her bag and left the room. Suddenly, an old janitor bumped into her. I'm terribly sorry, miss. The elegant lady grumbled, then used the emergency exit to rush up to the rooftop. On the roof, a helicopter was already waiting, with Mike inside. Mike's dad quickly gave him the necklace. Just when the helicopter took off, policemen came rushing to catch him. We finally got you weasel! Ha ha! I've still got the necklace. I win again, you fools. Oh, you mean this necklace? What? How could you?
It turned out that Jaden had swapped the box when they bumped into each other in the hall.
Upon this admission, in the helicopter, Mike eagerly opened the box, which turned out to be just a jumping jack toy. No! After the police took Mike's dad away, Jasmine and her dad rushed to Jaden. Thank you so much for saving my daughter and still catching the thief.
Thank you for all your help. We couldn't have caught him if you didn't fabricate this event.
This whole thing was Jasmine's idea, and the event itself was fake. All the antiques auctioned tonight were real, and those proceeds will still go to charity.
We did it!
You're right. We did it. Whatever happened with the other thief who got caught earlier? Oh, he was hired to distract the FBI, but we knew from the start he wasn't our thief. Luckily, the arrest announcement was just the thing we needed to get Mike's dad to make his move and to make him think he was going to get away with it. Now I just need to know how you switch those boxes so smoothly. Are you a magician too? Nope, I'm just me. The next day, Jaden finally had some time alone with Jasmine, and it was finally time to tell her the rest of everything. It might not be my place to say, but I understand how you've been feeling. Trying to be someone? Heck, it's my job. But it's not your job to change to make other people like you. The right people are the ones who love you for who you really are. People like, me. Jasmine was touched. She had so many things she wanted to say, but she was simply speechless. She turned to Jaden, and upon seeing just his side profile, she blushed. Are you okay? Jasmine was going to respond, but she hiccuped again. I think I know what to do.
Hey, Daisy here. I'm just your normal 19-year-old college girl living away from home for the first time. And can't deny that it could get lonely sometimes. And I felt homesick a lot. But it's okay though, as I have Lucas, my loving boyfriend. Okay, yeah, his family is well off, so he always treats me to nice places and buys me nice gifts. A few months ago, he told me to move in with him in his family's mansion. And I've agreed. But don't get me wrong, I'm not a gold digger at all. I just had no other choice. It all started one night when thieves broke into my apartment while I was asleep. It was terrifying. I knew they were ransacking my living room and stealing my TV and laptop, but I'd rather stay put to protect myself. After that, I didn't want to be home alone at all anymore. Lucas, too, was worried for me, so one evening he told me, "Daisy, I think you should come live with me, at least until you find a roommate." Wow, I wasn't expecting that, but I guess it made sense. I felt a bit awkward about it, though, as I've only been to his house, or should I say his parents' mansion, a few times. And although there was plenty of space, and his parents adored me, but I didn't want to feel like I was intruding. Sensing my apprehension, he continued, "I've explained the situation to my parents, and they're cool with it." I smiled at him and replied, "Well, okay then, but it will just be temporary." Before I moved in with Lucas and his family, I felt very anxious. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to adapt to their lifestyle, and I didn't want to upset his parents. I worried a lot, but not once did I think my trouble would be with a maid. Yup, you heard me right. On my first day at the mansion, a tearful woman immediately ran towards me and greeted me. Mrs. Harris introduced her to me. "This is our maid, Sarah. She's been with us for years, so if you have any problem, just ask her. We're all family here. Make yourself comfortable." Then Sarah quickly grabbed my suitcase and smiled at me. "Miss, let me help you with that. I'll show you to the room." It was so strange having someone else do stuff for me like this. I could just smile back and follow her upstairs. That made me feel so welcomed here, and how nice this maid was. Maybe we could be friends. But suddenly, a thump cuts off my thoughts. It was Sarah. She'd thrown my suitcase to the floor, then said, "What on earth do you have in there? Carry it yourself. Your room is down the hallway to the left." And she walked off. What was that? Did I do something wrong? I quickly picked up my stuff in confusion. I didn't want to make an enemy of anyone here, especially not on my first day. So after I unpacked my stuff, I went down to the kitchen to help her prepare dinner. She was still so grumpy at me and told me to just get lost as I'd only be in her way. I remained persistent as I really wanted to resolve whatever her misunderstandings about me were. Eventually she gave in and said, "Fine, you want to help? Go dice up all of those onions." "Yes, sure, but all of these?" I asked her while staring at a basket full of onions. "Are you going to help me or not?" she said sharply. I replied, Okay, don't worry, I'll do it." I tried starting up a convo with her, but she just rolled her eyes at me. Meanwhile, the onions were giving me hell. My eyes were burning and tears were streaming out. Ouch! When I finally finished, she stared at my swollen eyes and said, "If you're that upset about living here, you could just leave." "It's the onions," told her. She smirked as she took them off me, then walked straight to trash and threw them away, saying, "You took too long. I didn't need it anymore." What? My face dropped, but I was far too exhausted to argue with her anyway. That's when Lucas and his parents came down for dinner. Sarah quickly set up the tables, then called me over with a bright smile as she pulled out a chair for me. "Miss Campbell, please take a seat. Dinner is ready." Was she for real? I couldn't keep up with her constant change in personality. After dinner, I approached Sarah while she was doing the dishes. "Look, I'm sorry, but did I do something to upset you?" "Yes, you sure did. You waltz around like you own the place, but you're nothing more than a parasite. And I won't let you worm your way into my home." Before I had time to process her words, she grabbed an expensive-looking marble plate and smirked at me as she dropped it onto the ground. Then, with a piece of broken plate, she quickly slit her hand and yelled out loud, "Miss, I'm so sorry for vexing you, but you shouldn't have broken this. It's Mr. Harris' favorite plate." Hearing the crashing sound, everyone quickly gathered in the kitchen and stared at me for answers. I immediately explained, no, it's not like that. But Mrs. Harris said, it's okay. Let's help Sarah first. Then she let her off to get the first aid kit. I grabbed Lucas's arm. Babe, I really didn't do that. He reassured me with a smile. Daisy, don't worry about it. You don't understand. Sarah did it on purpose and blamed me. He laughed as if he just heard something ridiculous, then said, no way. I bet it was just some sort of misunderstanding. Sarah is really nice. Don't worry. You two will get close in no time. Now let me clean up this mess. You go and relax. I felt frustrated and fed up, but I reluctantly went back to my room. This girl was definitely on to me. But for what reason? Over the following weeks, her vendetta against me continued. She washed my white clothes with colored ones, then intentionally threw away my stuff and made out she mistook it for trash while cleaning my room. She put extra hot chili flakes in my food, then rushed over with a glass of water when I started to choke, and so on. Worse still, Lucas and his parents wouldn't hear a bad word said against her. They were completely oblivious to how crazy she was. I didn't understand why she hated me so much. Was she jealous of me or something? All right then. If she wanted to play with me, then game on. So I decided to spy on her, catch her red-handed, and show everyone her true self. My chance to expose her finally arrived. I was passing her room, and I saw her holding a watch. I recognized it. It was Mr. Harris's. She looked shifty as she placed it into her drawer and hid it underneath some of her clothes. Ha! Got her. I quickly ran to the guard to find Mrs. Harris and managed to persuade her to come with me to Sarah's room. Sarah stood by looking all innocent as Mrs. Harris checked her drawer. The watch wasn't there, and instead we found it still intact on the vanity in the master bedroom. Huh? At that moment, Sarah suddenly bawled out, Ma'am, I would never steal from you. You know that. I've gone out of my way to please Miss Campbell here, but she's intent on making my life a misery. Oh my God. Those crocodile tears. Did she have no shame? I tried explaining myself to Mrs. Harris, but she held up her hand and told me she didn't want to hear it. I wanted to make amends, so the next morning, I prepared Mrs. Harris's favorite smoothie and breakfast for her. I set it up nicely on the dining table, then went upstairs to get her, smirking at Sarah as she passed by. Mrs. Harris seemed happy with the gesture, but just an hour later, she said she didn't feel well. She was clenching her stomach as she glared at me and blamed me for poisoning her food. What? How frustrating. And Lucas wasn't even home for me to talk to. So I went to the kitchen to check the expiration date of everything I'd used. But I swear it was all fresh. I even went through the trash to check the used milk carton. That's when I saw some sesame seeds in there. That's odd, as I knew Mrs. Harris was allergic to them, so we never had them in the house. It had to be Sarah. She must have poisoned the breakfast with them when I was out of the room. Later that day, Mrs. Harris was feeling better, so I went to see her and told her that I was leaving, on one condition. Then I persuaded her to come into my room and hide in my closet. By this point, I think she was willing to do anything just to get me out of her house. I called Sarah over to help me pack up my stuff. She stepped into my room with a cocky smile and knocked over the box of my stuff, then said, I was always going to win. I replied, Fine, you win. But before I leave, I want to ask you something. You put sesame seeds in the breakfast I made for Mrs. Harris, didn't you? Sarah looked around to check no one else was about before she grinned at me and said, Yes, it was me, all me. While you were sucking up to Mrs. Harris, I ground some up and mixed them in the disgusting smoothie you made. Oh, I also pretended to steal the watch because I knew you were spying on me. Jeez, you made it so easy. But why? I asked, But why? She imitated my voice. Because this is my family. I've lived here for years. You can't just show up all pretty and carefree and expect to have everything and push me out of my own home. I never wanted to push you out. All I wanted was to be your friend. As if. This is my gold mine, not yours. Sooner or later, all of this will be mine, and God knows I deserve it. I put up with this annoying family and a poor salary for years. Mr. Harris always dreamed of having a daughter, but no, he's stuck with that dumb son of his. It's only a matter of time until he realizes I can be the daughter he longed for. Or, now that you won't be around, it'll be easy for me to trap Lucas by having his baby. Either way, the winner is always me. Suddenly, the wardrobe doors burst open, and out emerged Mrs. Harris, looking furious. She pulled Sarah's hair and dragged her out of the room. Wow, who knew the mild-mannered Mrs. Harris could be so kick-ass? I guess everyone has a hidden side. Anyway, this proved my innocence, and Sarah was kicked out right on the spot. Then Mrs. Harris apologized to me and insisted that I should keep staying with them. I thanked her for the offer, but politely declined. As I felt ready to leave and move in with my friend, I was just relieved that she'd learned the truth and that Sarah had gone once and for all. So, Luke and I are still together and are very happy. Yes, it was annoying he didn't believe me at first, but he's such a sweet and trusting guy that he'd never expect someone could be capable of such horrible things. But hey, that's just one of many reasons why I love him. As for his parents, well, I still visit them sometimes. I even cook for them now and then, but thankfully there have been no more sesame seed incidents, and there's no more crazy maid to contend with. Phew!
It was a Saturday at my environmental club. I saw my friends chatting, so I hurried over to join them. What about Walmart? Walmart? You guys hang out there? Can I come too? I love looking at wall stuff. Huh? Why was everyone gawping at me like an alien? Oh, Walmart. Duh. I was just fooling around. Anyway, you guys go have fun. There. You're probably thinking, has this girl been living under a rock? How did she not know what Walmart is? Well, now I do. Hi, I'm Jasmine, the only child of the biggest hotelier in New York. Growing up rich, I was used to lavish parties and being around wealthy families. That's how I met my girls, Katie and Ashley, daughters of my parents' business partners. I may have lived a privileged lifestyle, but I was actually happiest when I got to work in my art studio. I had an anonymous Tumblr account where I shared some of my finest oil paintings. There, I'd been talking to this one fan for a while, Daniel. He's such a hottie, and he loves art too. But best of all, I just found out we're going to the same high school. Yay! So when the school year started, I asked to meet Daniel in person. Oh, that must be him! I was about to greet him when suddenly a girl appeared. Wow, there sure are a lot of rich girls around here. I swear I saw a few of them ogling you.
Ugh, please. You know how I despise the spoiled princesses the most? I just can't stand being close to them.
Oh no! Daniel hates rich girls? I can't let him see me today. Not like this. So I texted saying something had come up. Over the next few days, I found out that Daniel was Mr. Cool with all the straight A's, currently the president of the environmental club. And he's single. So that's Haley, just a close friend of his. I was determined to conquer Daniel's heart. I just needed to figure out a way to get around his whole anti-wealth thing. Aha! I'd pretend to be some normal girl and join Daniel's environmental club. In the meantime, I'd make him fall for me before telling him the truth about my Tumblr account. Of course, I couldn't let Katie and Ashley know about this either. And here I am, at the environmental club. I immediately approached Daniel with candies, but you know how terrible rappers are for the planet. Besides, Dan doesn't like sweets. At lunchtime, out of habit, I ordered fast food. But as I went fetch it, I saw everyone gossiping amongst themselves about the terrible person who dared to order food in single-use plastic. Oh, silly me. I totally forgot I was in an environmental club. I quickly lied that I'd already eaten despite my stomach giving out some monster growls. And today's incident was yet another embarrassing moment I created for myself at the club. Oh, Walmart. Duh, I was just fooling around. Anyway, you guys go have fun. There. Learning to be a normal girly is hard, but dealing with my rich friends was even harder. I'd been so busy at the club I totally forgot I still had the recycling bag on me. Not mine. Another time, I nearly got caught while trying to raise funds with other clubmates. I ended up hiding in the restroom for an hour straight. But all the suffering was worth it, as I got to hang around with Daniel. Daniel, I got this for you.
Oh, this is for me? You're a great painter, aren't you? Thanks. By the way, meet Andy. He's an eco bus stop poster design group, and you're gonna work with him from now on. Not like a rich kid like him needs the bus.
Andy, what are you doing here?
I could say the same about you. My dad just married Daniel's mom, so I'm here to support my new stepbrother.
Ooh, so Andy, whom I met through fancy parties with our parent in the past, was in Daniel's inner circle. This was wonderful news. So I confided in him all about my plan to get with Daniel. So, any chance you could help a girl out?
Sure. I've always wanted Daniel to have a girlfriend anyway. He seriously needs to chill out a bit.
From then on, Andy started teaching me about ordinary life. One time, he insisted on taking me to the amusement park for the first time. Why do people take the bus anyway? Why don't they just drive a car?
Not everyone can afford a car, Jazz.
So, when will the bus come to pick me up?
The bus doesn't come to you. You have to go to the bus stop.
Huh? A bus stop? What is it?
It's a corner with a bench. You'll see.
The bus was stuffy, and there was a funny smell coming from somewhere behind me. Where's my champagne and hot towels?
Jazz, this is a bus, not a plane. You don't get those things here.
Later, the bus suddenly jolted, and I flew forward, but Andy caught me in his arms. I peered up at him, my heart almost skipped a beat. He looked so fine from this angle. Finally, we made it to the amusement park, and it turns out it was so much fun. I went on these twirling teacups until I felt dizzy, and threw some balls at a tower of cans. On the way home, Andy insisted on joining this massive line to try some tacos. I'd never waited this long for food before. But oh boy, they were tastier than Michelin star food! Best of all, Andy also helped me get close to Daniel. Only I got so nervous. The trees are leafy, aren't they? I mean, all trees are leafy. Apart from trees in winter, as they're not very leafy.
You're just the right combination of cute and awkward.
Holy moly, I thought I was cute. I was ready for my sweet first kiss when Haley butted in and started boring Daniel with talk of some project. Later that day, Haley pulled me into the corner.
Who are you, and why join this club?
I'm just an environmental enthusiast and a nature lover. This girl is everywhere. Third wheeling with me and Daniel, but it's okay, as Andy had invited me to his house to work on a poster for the club. And I mean, I could conveniently bump into Daniel there too. Oh, some of the paintings here were amazing. I didn't realize Andy was an art fan. We discussed some of our favorite artists, and then I showed him my finest paintings on my Tumblr account.
Wow, I can tell you truly have a knack for transitional blending. Actually, I dreamed of becoming an artist, but then Mom left me and Dad to travel the world and fill her own painting dreams. I didn't want to make Dad any sadder than he already was, so I stopped painting.
I told him to pursue his passion no matter what, invited him to join me in my art studio whenever he wanted. Suddenly, it was so hot in here, I needed a glass of water before I melted. I walked into the kitchen to find Daniel daydreaming out a window. Hey, is everything all right?
Eco bus stop has hit a dead end due to the lack of funding.
I knew I'd just give him some of my allowance, but that would mean revealing that I was a rich girl. So I decided to cheer him up by pulling funny faces and said it would all be okay, but then...
You don't understand. I have to make this project successful no matter what. Only then I can get a scholarship into my dream university.
His attitude stunned me. This Daniel was completely different from the fan I talked to. But maybe he was only acting up because Eco Bus Stop means a lot to him. So, the next day, I decided to give Daniel his most wanted gift, an envelope with my monthly allowance. Just as I was about to reach Daniel, Haley stopped me. I know your secret already, rich girl. What? No! You must be dreaming stuff up. Oh, really? So you don't know these people?
Aren't they the troublemakers from the rich kid clique?
Yeah, they are. Why would I be friends with those spoiled brats? Spoiled brats?
Jazz, how could you say that?
Your whole save the trees act didn't work on me. You were acting fake from the start, so I followed you. Saw you with your rich friends at the luxury outlet. That's correct. Jasmine Father owns more hotels than your dumb club members' houses combined. I don't know what you're doing here. Next thing I knew, Daniel walked off without saying a word, so I ran after him.
I knew it so well that rich people like you ain't no good. You could have funded the project, or at least helped me ask your father for a loan, but you did nothing. You disgust me.
I only did it because I like you. Right then, Katie and Ashley caught me up. I'm sorry for what I said earlier, girls. It was my fault. I shouldn't have said such nasty things about you guys. I didn't think a no lady like you would ever lower yourself for a pig boy like him. If you want back in the clique, then cut ties with your low-rent friends. Me, my club friends were right. We've been so shallow and materialistic. We should change, not them. You! How dare you, Jasmine! Jasmine! So, Daniel didn't want to see my face while Katie kicked me out of the group. For 1 week straight, I shut myself in my room. It was awful, but it did give me time to think more clearly and come to realize I should stop chasing Daniel. Instead, I want to be more active at the environmental club. I truly love contributing to the greater good. So, the next morning, I went to the beach to clean up with the club. Everyone looked so shocked to see me, especially Andy.
You're back. I'm so glad you came. How have you been?
Then we chatted happily while cleaning up the trash with everyone. Only Daniel and Haley were visibly annoyed, but I just couldn't care less. From then on, I was busy helping prepare for the Shark Tank show to raise capital for Eco Bus Stop. One day, Daniel approached me and apologized for overreacting that day. He went on to explain that his mom's been labeled a gold digger ever since she married Andy's dad. He wanted to show that, unlike Andy, who had been born in privilege, he didn't need money, and that he could get a scholarship into his dream college through Eco Bus Stop. Hearing this, I softened and forgave him. After that, we became friends again, and I think he was flirting with me.
Hey, Jess, you look nice today. You've got such beautiful eyes.
But for some reason, every time I was with him, all I thought about was Andy. Time passed by, then came the Shark Tank qualifying round. The whole club nervously watched Daniel present the project. And guess what? Our project selected for the final round. Right after that, Daniel followed me outside.
Jasmine, will you be my girlfriend?
I was so confused that I mindlessly nodded, but somehow I didn't feel happy at all. On my first date with Daniel, I found my mind wandering back to Andy. Worse still, I felt like he was avoiding me. A few days later, I threw my 16th birthday. All my friends from the environmental club were there, except for Andy. Later, Daniel went on stage.
Hey everyone, I prepared a special song for my girlfriend Jasmine. You say you're sorry, but it's too late now. So save it, get gone, shut up. 'Cause if you think I care about you now, girl, I don't give a fudge.
Next thing I knew, everyone was gasping and giving me pitiful looks.
So this is for you, Jasmine, you useless, rich, spoiled little brat. Happy birthday, you're dumped.
I froze, tried to pull myself together. Yes, I'm rich, but never useless and spoiled. People are more than just their social class, you know. Suddenly, I saw a fist flying through the air. It was Andy, punching Daniel.
You jerk, you'll pay for this.
Then he leads me away. Andy sat me down on a bench, and I just couldn't stop my tears.
Stop crying already. He doesn't deserve you, he never did.
But I couldn't deal with this right now, so I turned and ran off without uttering a word. After crying myself to sleep that night, I knew the next day I had to be tough, so I returned to the club to get my stuff.
Hey, I'm sorry about what happened last night. I never thought he could do such terrible things to you. And I'm sorry for being harsh on you this whole time. I know now that was wrong of me.
It's okay. I guess it was just my fault from the start. I ignored the fact that we were incompatible just because he was my fan.
Daniel is your fan?
Yeah, from my Min Arts account on Tumblr.
Oh god, that's you? I'm the fan, not Daniel.
Oh, that makes sense. I guess I misunderstood everything all along. But why is there a photo and info of Daniel? Haley admitted to having a crush on Daniel.
But now that I see his true colors, he's just not worth it anymore, you know? I'm gonna leave this club too. It's Daniel who needs to leave. Just wait and see.
Despite still being in a mood, I showed up to Shark Tank's final round to see the project I contributed to. And yes, our Eco Bus Stop project finally got the funding approval. When suddenly,
I'll invest in the project, but I don't want Daniel as a partner. I want it to be Haley. She's the real mastermind behind this.
All the club members shouted in union to support Haley and boo at Daniel.
What about our deal? You said your father would invest in my project if I dumped Jasmine publicly.
I don't know either. Maybe it's because you really suck. Moments later, Katie's father got between them.
Fortunately, Andy filled me in on Haley's contribution to the project. Otherwise, I would have made a terrible mistake by funding an opportunist instead. As for you, Katie, how could you do that to a friend? You'll receive your punishment at home.
After the show ended, I went for a walk with Andy. So, this was your plan all along, huh?
Daniel went too far this time. I need to teach him a lesson, and... Jazz, I've liked you since we first started hanging out, but I stupidly agreed to help you get with Daniel.
This is so sudden. I don't know, Andy.
I promise to take care of you from now on. Please give me a chance.
Andy, actually, I like you too, but my stupid self kept telling me to pursue Daniel, and all this time I've been thinking about you a lot, but I just need some time.
That's all I need to know.